A majestic palace introduces the narrator, the Grand Duke of Alpares' eldest daughter, born into the kingdom's greatest aristocratic family. A gentlewoman with light brown hair cradles an infant with dark hair and red eyes, embodying warmth and new beginnings. The narrator's father, Grand Duke Alpares, was cold and obsessed with politics, while her red-haired mother sought solace with other young men. The young, black-haired girl, the narrator, stands between her red-haired mother and light brown-haired father, noting her distinct red eyes. The black-haired girl, always alone in her home, finds solace in books, intensely writing in one. The now older black-haired girl, with pink streaks in her hair, reflects on her past arrogance, standing defiantly amidst mystical energy. A younger, distressed black-haired girl with tears in her eyes desperately wished for her parents' attention and care. The black-haired girl walks away, clutching her teddy bear, as her parents remain indifferent to her, confirming their lack of interest. The black-haired girl, no longer wanting to endure pain or disappointment, makes a grim resolution. The narrator, now a confident woman with pink-streaked hair, reveals her decision to become a bad girl because she believed them to be strong. A blonde-haired woman with blue eyes, wearing a white dress, stares in a mirror in utter shock, exclaiming, "What the hell is this?" Cassandra de la Alpares, in a stunning red dress, reluctantly attends a lavish ballroom event, compelled by her father. Cassandra de la Alpares, the Duke's daughter with black and red hair, confidently sips wine, fully present at the grand gathering. Annoyed, Cassandra de la Alpares encounters second Prince Leon de Real Castello, who greets her presence. Cassandra de la Alpares, with a stern expression, addresses the prince with formal respect. Second Prince Leon de Real Castello, angered, scolds Cassandra de la Alpares for appearing at the event, calling her a villainess. Cassandra de la Alpares calmly retorts that she also did not wish to attend the event. Second Prince Leon de Real Castello passionately declares his disapproval of their engagement to Cassandra de la Alpares. Cassandra de la Alpares coolly reminds the prince that their engagement was a political decision made by their fathers. The prince's harsh words echo, proclaiming Cassandra de la Alpares a wicked woman unworthy of him and lacking any saintly modesty. Second Prince Leon de Real Castello angrily demands to know why Cassandra de la Alpares is laughing at his words. Cassandra de la Alpares mocks the prince, reminding him that despite his dislike, he still requires her family's influential help. TCH. Second Prince Leon de Real Castello makes an exasperated sound, glaring with visible frustration. Cassandra de la Alpares confidently states her own disinterest in marrying him and challenges him to break their engagement. Cassandra de la Alpares smirks, clarifying her challenge with the heavy implication of the support and esteem he would lose. TCH. Second Prince Leon de Real Castello, agitated, makes an exasperated sound, clenching his fist in frustration. Guests gossip about Cassandra de la Alpares' cruel nature, while she, holding her wine, secretly hears their every disparaging word. Cassandra de la Alpares asserts that she didn't choose her path, and cannot simply transform into a saint after living this way for so long. Cassandra de la Alpares' eye shows surprise and pain, as horrified guests gasp in reaction to a sudden event. Kaya! Cassandra de la Alpares collapses, bleeding from her chest, causing panic among the shocked guests who cry for a doctor. The surprised blonde-haired woman realizes she has inexplicably awakened in an unfamiliar body. The blonde-haired woman looks angrily at Second Prince Leon de Real Castello and his companions, deeming them a truly hopeless bunch. The blonde-haired woman observes the luxurious bedroom, noting its suitable furniture, though it falls short of a Grand Duke's splendor. The blonde-haired woman critically assesses her new appearance, concluding that she's pretty cute. The blonde-haired woman contemplates her predicament, uncertain of the identity of her new body but acknowledging its high status. The blonde-haired woman looks contemplatively, an unspoken question lingering in her mind. A letter with an ornate border is shown, prompting a questioning thought from the blonde-haired woman. The blonde-haired woman reads a formal letter, noting its apology for the long silence. The blonde-haired woman looks intently at the letter, her expression one of dawning realization. The blonde-haired woman wonders if the letter she found is addressed to her family. A young blonde-haired girl, The past self of her new body is depicted holding hands with an adult, signifying a loving family upbringing. The blonde-haired woman contemplates living the life of this new body, dreaming of a different fate. The blonde-haired woman reflects on not having to live as Cassandra de la Alpares, the woman with black and red hair, whom everyone despises. The blonde-haired woman pauses, deep in thought, her blue eyes wide with contemplation. The blonde-haired woman stands by a large window in a luxurious room, gazing outwards in thought. The blonde-haired woman, with Cassandra de la Alpares' ghostly image behind her, resolves to live her own life, free from the role of a villainess. The blonde-haired woman, startled by a sound, panics, realizing she is unprepared for whatever is coming. The blonde-haired woman looks distressed, unable to ignore the impending situation. The blonde-haired woman smiles brightly, exclaiming, "Yes!" and inviting someone to enter. The blonde-haired woman awkwardly responds to an unseen person suggesting she should be getting ready since she's awake. The blonde-haired woman is startled as an unseen person, or maid, hurries her to get dressed. The blonde-haired woman smiles awkwardly, questioning the instruction to get dressed. The blonde-haired woman, still in her nightclothes, asks a dark-haired woman what she is supposed to do once dressed. The dark-haired woman with green eyes looks confused and asks the blonde-haired woman what she is talking about. The dark-haired woman instructs the blonde-haired woman to get dressed quickly and say her prayers, as she always does. The narrative introduces a golden angel statue, identifying her as belonging to the Holy Order of Kibale and known as Saint Eliana of Kibale. The dark-haired woman looks concerned, questioning if the blonde-haired woman is Lady Eliana. Amidst a bright flash and crackling lightning, the blonde-haired woman, with glowing eyes, thinks about being called a saint. The blonde-haired woman appears utterly shocked, processing the realization of being identified as a saint. A promotional panel introduces the Holy Church of Kibale against a serene sky with a church spire. A series of panels describe the Holy Church of Kibale as a powerful and major religion with saints, representing the goddess of mercy, possessing sacred power to save many people. Amidst a bright flash and crackling lightning, the blonde-haired woman with glowing eyes thinks about being called a saint. The blonde-haired woman appears utterly shocked, processing the realization of being identified as a saint. The blonde-haired woman looks surprised as the dark-haired woman urgently calls out, "Lady Eliana!" The blonde-haired woman confidently declares herself Eliana Kibale and a saint, while the dark-haired woman looks at her skeptically. The dark-haired woman, clearly annoyed, asks what the blonde-haired woman is talking about and states she is making her uncomfortable. The blonde-haired woman pauses, a thoughtful expression on her face, and thinks, The dark-haired woman thinks about representing the Holy Order of Kibale, implying a deep connection to her role. The dark-haired woman expresses her frustration, thinking the blonde-haired woman has been acting like a goddess, while the blonde-haired woman quietly acknowledges, "I see." The blonde-haired woman softly chuckles, prompting the dark-haired woman to ask what she is laughing at. The blonde-haired woman smiles, explaining that her reaction is nothing, and just how it usually is. The blonde-haired woman narrates her past as a naughty girl, detailing how servants ridiculed her for her distinct hair color, labeling her an illegitimate daughter. The blonde-haired woman narrates her transformation into a villainess, and how ladies would gossip about her at night parties. A close-up shows Cassandra's hand, adorned with a rose tattoo and dark, swirling energy, symbolizing her villainous persona. The blonde-haired woman narrates about her past actions as a villainess, with a flash of Cassandra's red eye, then the blonde-haired woman's blue eye, concluding it was obvious, of course. With a ghostly image of Cassandra de la Pares behind her, the blonde-haired woman declares her intention to crush them with my wicked face. The dark-haired woman impatiently asks how much longer she must wait, to which the blonde-haired woman, looking surprised, apologizes. The blonde-haired woman smiles ominously, asking the dark-haired woman why she thinks she is better than a saint like her. The dark-haired woman appears enraged, questioning what is going on, while the blonde-haired woman calmly states she was just wondering. The blonde-haired woman smiles menacingly, asking the dark-haired woman why she is behaving disrespectfully towards her. The dark-haired woman, distressed, warns the blonde-haired woman that without her, she would have nothing. The blonde-haired woman smiles slyly, questioning the dark-haired woman about what she would lack without her. The dark-haired woman makes an exasperated sound, TCH, and glares intensely. The dark-haired woman shouts at the blonde-haired woman, accusing her of arrogance and proclaiming herself as the only priest willing to follow her. The dark-haired woman thinks angrily that the blonde-haired woman has only divine power, nothing more than a decoration, a saint, as the blonde-haired woman looks troubled by a window. The blonde-haired woman smiles darkly, acknowledging the dark-haired woman's points and agreeing, "You're right." The blonde-haired woman asks the dark-haired woman what she thinks would happen if something were to happen to her, prompting a shocked "eh" from the dark-haired woman. The blonde-haired woman dramatically raises her arm, proclaiming, "This is what I mean." A white-haired man with golden eyes, dressed in noble attire, sighs as he writes with a quill. The white-haired man narrates meeting a young blonde-haired woman, Saint Eliana, 5 years ago, describing her as a simple farm girl. The white-haired man recounts his pity for the young blonde-haired woman, but emphasizes his need for her to be a symbol of the church, showing him holding her hand before a church. The white-haired man looks thoughtful, reiterating his past conviction, but expressing a lingering doubt. The white-haired man gazes out a window, questioning if he had made the right decision. A brown-haired man with a short hairstyle, seen from behind, informs a white-haired man with golden eyes that he heard voices arguing in the ladies' room. The white-haired man looks troubled and asks, "Arguing?" The dark-haired woman screams in distress as the scene intensifies. The blonde-haired woman, with a faint red mark on her cheek, smiles mysteriously as a narrative voice asks, "What are you doing?" and announces the story is to be continued. 2 men walk away in a grand hall, with the white-haired man remarking in thought how the saint and priest are arguing, prompting the brown-haired man to ask what that means. The brown-haired man confirms that he heard them arguing when he passed by the saint's room. The brown-haired man thinks angrily about someone being rude enough to raise their voice at the saint. The white-haired man, Cardinal Lorenzo, is determined, thinking they cannot simply ignore the situation unfolding. The brown-haired man looks surprised and worried, understanding the gravity of the situation. Cardinal Lorenzo urges the brown-haired man to hurry, with the latter nervously agreeing as they rush off. The dark-haired woman, Naomi, screams in outrage, demanding to know what is happening. The blonde-haired woman stands by a shattered window in the luxurious room, a red mark visible on her cheek. The blonde-haired woman with glowing blue eyes and a bruised cheek looks with a chilling smile, clutching her chest. Thorns surround the blonde-haired woman as she smirks, questioning if they still don't understand her intentions. The blonde-haired woman, glowing with power, raises a chair, ready to smash it with formidable force. Glass shatters violently, reflecting the powerful impact that just occurred. The dark-haired woman, Naomi, cries out in shock to the blonde-haired woman, asking what happened. By the broken window, the blonde-haired woman calmly states she broke it, believing her actions should have been understood. The blonde-haired woman's glowing blue eyes widen in a subtle shock as she realizes they're here. The dark-haired woman, Naomi, looks distressed as the brown-haired man and another cleric rush into the room, asking what is going on. The blonde-haired woman reveals dark, rose-shaped energy as she menacingly asks, "Now shall I start?" The blonde-haired woman feigns distress, covering her mouth as if innocent, amidst a flurry of petals. A dark-haired cleric urgently questions what happened to the blonde-haired woman, seeing her apparent distress. The blonde-haired woman tearfully accuses Naomi of slapping her and claims she broke the window to call for help, while Naomi reacts with horrified disbelief. The brown-haired man demands an explanation as Naomi frantically denies the accusations, insisting the blonde-haired woman caused the damage herself. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles subtly as he calmly acknowledges the conflicting accounts. Cardinal Lorenzo stands, arms crossed, smiling as he thoughtfully concludes that the situation presents a significant problem. The clerics are shocked, with the brown-haired man exclaiming Cardinal Lorenzo's name in surprise at his sudden appearance. Cardinal Lorenzo stands dramatically amidst a floral design, arms crossed as someone questions his unexpected presence. The dark-haired cleric ponders the implications of Cardinal Lorenzo's personal appearance, wondering if the problem has deeper meaning. The dark-haired cleric internally questions if the unfolding events are connected to the conservative faction. Cardinal Lorenzo apologizes for intruding, explaining he overheard their conversation from outside the room. Cardinal Lorenzo presses the issue, asking both the innocent-looking blonde-haired woman and the distressed dark-haired woman which one is telling the truth. The blonde-haired woman, with Cassandra's ghostly image behind her, smiles subtly, acknowledging the situation with a thought, "I see." The blonde-haired woman observes Cardinal Lorenzo, thinking he appears to be the most powerful person present. The blonde-haired woman turns to Cardinal Lorenzo and the clerics, addressing them respectfully with an apology. The blonde-haired woman, with glowing eyes, confidently declares that as the saint, her word should be trusted over the priests. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles, gently questioning her assertion by asking, "Why is that?" The blonde-haired woman, pious and serene, reminds them she is the saint whose entire being is devoted to goddess Kybele. The blonde-haired woman, radiating divine light, dramatically asserts that as her body is devoted to the goddess, she could never harm herself. The blonde-haired woman slyly suggests that her daily mistreatment makes it obvious she wouldn't harm herself, implying someone else is the culprit. Cardinal Lorenzo nods, agreeing with the blonde-haired woman's reasoning, his hand resting thoughtfully on his chin. Cardinal Lorenzo directly addresses the dark-haired woman, asking her name, to which she nervously replies, "My name is Naomi." Cardinal Lorenzo, glowing ominously, declares to Naomi that disrespecting the saint, the holiest person in the Kybele Church, is a grave sin. Cardinal Lorenzo orders the brown-haired man to take her away as Naomi looks on in distraught shock. Naomi desperately protests her innocence as she is seized by the arm and led away. The dark-haired woman, Naomi, screams out, "Cardinal Lorenzo!" in a final, desperate plea. As Cardinal Lorenzo looks back, the blonde-haired woman innocently reveals he was a cardinal all along, implying her cunning strategy. The blonde-haired woman's blue eyes widen in realization, her expression shocked as she thinks, which means Cardinal Lorenzo smiles serenely amidst a golden glow, embodying his authoritative presence and influence. The blonde-haired woman sincerely thanks Cardinal Lorenzo for believing in her, subtly securing her position. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles, offering an apology for his subordinate's rudeness following the recent confrontation. Cardinal Lorenzo thoughtfully touches his chin, a subtle "even so" escaping his lips, indicating deeper contemplation. The blonde-haired woman, with glowing blue eyes and a faint smile, hears the thought that her resolute attitude made her seem like a different person. Cardinal Lorenzo calmly announces his departure, turning to leave the blonde-haired woman standing innocently behind him. As Cardinal Lorenzo departs, he ponders the blonde-haired woman, Saintess Eliana, realizing she is a more interesting person than he initially thought. Cardinal Lorenzo, with glowing eyes, smirks as he contemplates, sensing that things are about to become much more interesting. The blonde-haired woman reflects that while people appear more caring and devoted, she knows it's not entirely true, as two clerics stand nearby. The blonde-haired woman perceives that others are frightened of her and whisper from a distance. The blonde-haired woman smirks, revealing she is accustomed to such treatment, having been a villain before. The blonde-haired woman clasps her hands in prayer before a grand white statue. Cassandra de la Alparis appears behind the praying blonde-haired woman, remarking that the life of a saint isn't so bad. The blonde-haired woman appears flustered and cries out in surprise. Cardinal Lorenzo gently takes the startled blonde-haired woman's arm, asking if she is all right. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles charmingly, raising his hand in a polite greeting. The blonde-haired woman asks Cardinal Lorenzo what he is doing there, while he smiles back at her. Cardinal Lorenzo informs the blonde-haired woman that he has come to discuss an urgent matter. A dark-haired attendant politely addresses the blonde-haired woman while holding a tray. A beautifully adorned formal letter lies open amidst blooming roses. A yearly festival takes place in the Kingdom of Castello, with buildings decorated in colorful bunting flags. The blonde-haired woman and two others kneel in prayer before a majestic statue of a goddess. A shadowy image of Prince Leon appears as a thought expresses a reluctance to meet him. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles warmly, radiating a brilliant, welcoming aura. Saintess Eliana smiles demurely, her blue eyes sparkling. Saintess Eliana, in full saintly attire, curtsies respectfully, affirming her commitment to her duty. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles, expressing his anticipation to work with the blonde-haired woman, who looks slightly troubled. Cardinal Lorenzo exclaims with a pointed finger, remembering something important. Cardinal Lorenzo announces his presence at the baptismal ceremony, eliciting a surprised "oh" from the blonde-haired woman. Many nobles attend baptisms, as evidenced by the elegant dresses and floral decorations. The blonde-haired woman looks into her reflection, which shows Cassandra, thinking that the other me might be among the attending nobles. The blonde-haired woman stands serenely behind glass doors, observed by two birds perched on a tree outside. Cassandra del Alpares thinks about what she would say and declares she has always behaved as she pleased. The blonde-haired woman curls up within a glowing blue bubble, feeling the difficulty of being around those who wish her ill. The blonde-haired woman declares her intention to meet someone, then ponders how that meeting will happen. The blonde-haired woman contemplates her next move, a sly expression on her face. A dark-haired attendant assists the blonde-haired woman as she prepares in front of a dressing table, her reflection smiling. Dressed in full ceremonial attire with a veil, the blonde-haired woman appears perfectly serene, just like a saint. The blonde-haired woman closes her eyes peacefully, appearing serene. A dark-haired attendant informs the blonde-haired woman it's time to depart, and she calmly acknowledges it. The blonde-haired woman stands observing Cardinal Lorenzo from a distance in a grand hall. Prince Leon appears, surrounded by a radiant glow. Prince Leon compliments Saintess Eliana on her attire, noting she looks very well dressed. Prince Leon questions why the saint and cleric are outside his room, to which the dark-haired cleric begins to explain. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles coyly, extending a hand to display two ornate rings. The blonde-haired woman smiles awkwardly, thinking she can't openly state her true feelings. Cardinal Lorenzo and the blonde-haired woman stand hand in hand as he expresses his anticipation. A luxurious golden carriage awaits outside a grand building, with a white-cloaked figure nearby. Prince Leon stands seriously before his carriage. Prince Leon appears, prompting a thought of shock and confusion. Why is he here? Prince Leon angrily demands to know what the others are doing there, while Saintess Eliana internally questions his reappearance, and Cardinal Lorenzo responds with a surprised, "Eh?" Cardinal Lorenzo looks serious as he asks, "Have you forgotten?" The blonde-haired woman recalls Prince Leon flirting with her while engaged, acknowledging the memory with a faint, "That's right." Saintess Eliana remembers Prince Leon comparing her to another saint and finds his presence to be a nuisance. Cardinal Lorenzo addresses Prince Leon respectfully. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles as he subtly questions Prince Leon's right to be present. Prince Leon dismisses the question as stupid, expressing concern for his Eliana. Cardinal Lorenzo challenges Prince Leon, asking if he doesn't already have a fiancé. Prince Leon passionately declares his engagement to that evil woman will soon be off the table. Prince Leon smiles at Saintess Eliana, assuring her she has nothing to worry about and offering his hand, as Cardinal Lorenzo observes. A dramatic visual effect signifies a powerful, jarring impact or emotional shift. Saintess Eliana recoils from Prince Leon's outstretched hand, leaving him stunned and rejected amidst blooming roses. Saintess Eliana, radiating divine light, asserts her identity as the Saint of Kibali and vows never to be unfaithful to her fiancé. Prince Leon looks bewildered, calling out Eliana's name in confused protest. Cardinal Lorenzo, smiling, instructs Prince Leon to leave for the ceremony and calm down, while Prince Leon demands to know his identity. Prince Leon clenches his jaw, blushing in frustration, thinking, "Damn it!" Cardinal Lorenzo notes Prince Leon is in a bit of a mess as the grand carriage waits nearby. Cardinal Lorenzo, smiling charmingly beside Saintess Eliana, suggests they continue, despite the interruption. Saintess Eliana looks thoughtfully surprised, acknowledging the situation. Saintess Eliana smiles serenely, clasping her hands and offering a quiet thank you. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles gently, dismissing her gratitude by saying, "It's nothing." The golden carriage with its driver makes its way toward a magnificent church under a clear, sparkling sky. Saintess Eliana's eyes widen in startled surprise, indicating a sudden realization or shock. Saintess Eliana sits beside Cardinal Lorenzo in the carriage, observing that this is how he truly is. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles reassuringly at Saintess Eliana, advising her to ignore Prince Leon for now. Saintess Eliana looks out from the moving carriage, reflecting that a few months have passed since she switched places with the original saint. A panel explains that the Holy Church of Kibale is divided, with the conservative faction led by the Pope. Cardinal Lorenzo is introduced as the leader of the revolutionaries, standing confidently among other clerics. Saintess Eliana, praying, declares her neutrality and her intention not to belong to any faction. A scene of clerics reveals that neither faction is currently willing to fully accept the saint. Chibi figures show the dark-haired cleric and Cardinal Lorenzo playfully vying for the chibi saint, who looks overwhelmed. Saintess Eliana, with Cassandra's ghostly image behind her, subtly smirks, realizing her saintly position is a powerful card to play. Saintess Eliana smiles, confidently thinking that she is adept at using such tactics to her advantage. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles, appearing unaware, as Saintess Eliana casts a curious glance at him. The dark-haired woman, the other me, is shown from behind as Saintess Eliana ponders how they will meet. Cardinal Lorenzo addresses Saintess Eliana, who responds with a startled, questioning, "Yes?" Cardinal Lorenzo smiles, expressing his keen anticipation for this year's miracle. Saintess Eliana looks utterly confused and surprised by Cardinal Lorenzo's mention of a miracle. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles, reminiscing about last year's wonderful miracles and eagerly anticipating this year's. Cardinal Lorenzo explains that the miracle is the divine power unique to saints, prompting Saintess Eliana to internally question its source and nature. Cardinal Lorenzo looks concerned, asking Saintess Eliana if she is all right as she clutches her head. Saintess Eliana says she is fine, but internally thinks, "Damn," then sits on a couch, resolving that she must take action. The golden carriage pulls up to the grand, festively decorated church building. Cardinal Lorenzo announces their arrival to a slightly troubled Saintess Eliana. Saintess Eliana lies on a bed, restless and determined not to simply ponder the miracle passively. Saintess Eliana, with Cassandra's image, declares she definitely needs to meet her other self. The red-haired man in uniform welcomes them, inviting them to make themselves at home. A lavish, sparkling golden and white waiting room is showcased. Saintess Eliana sits composedly in the luxurious waiting room, finding it opulent but acceptable. Cardinal Lorenzo, with a subtle smile, presents today's schedule. Cardinal Lorenzo points at Saintess Eliana, who looks surprised by his direct address or instruction. Saintess Eliana thinks to herself that she only has 1 hour and must meet Eliana, no matter the cost. Cardinal Lorenzo leans over, appearing to look at papers, while Saintess Eliana discreetly covers her face. Cardinal Lorenzo asks what is wrong, and Saintess Eliana, with a blush, replies that she feels a little dizzy. Cardinal Lorenzo raises a hand, calling out to see if anyone is present, while Saintess Eliana discreetly hides her face. Saintess Eliana covers her mouth, her blue eyes wide, continuing her feigned dizziness. Cardinal Lorenzo informs the red-haired man in uniform that the saint is unwell, prompting the man to offer another room. Saintess Eliana, with Cassandra's image, smiles triumphantly, realizing her feigned illness has worked as she is led away. Saintess Eliana feigns dizziness, covering her mouth and looking troubled, while her outstretched hand seems to anticipate assistance from Cardinal Lorenzo. Cardinal Lorenzo appears concerned, extending his hand towards Saintess Eliana as she pretends to feel unwell. Saintess Eliana gratefully clasps Cardinal Lorenzo's hand, thanking him for his help. As Cardinal Lorenzo and Saintess Eliana follow the red-haired man in uniform down a lavish hall, Eliana internally declares they must get rid of him quickly. Saintess Eliana politely tells Cardinal Lorenzo that she can manage alone now and asks him to return. Cardinal Lorenzo places a comforting hand on Saintess Eliana's shoulder, asserting that nothing takes priority over a saint's health, though she secretly disagrees. Cardinal Lorenzo, with a menacing smile and glowing red eyes, instructs the red-haired man in uniform to watch over the saint, who promptly acknowledges the order. Cardinal Lorenzo walks down the grand hall, followed by a brown-haired woman attendant as he departs. Saintess Eliana sits calmly in the opulent room, observing the red-haired man in uniform and contemplating her next move. Saintess Eliana, with a sweet smile, politely asks the red-haired man in uniform to leave her alone. Saintess Eliana walks purposefully down the grand hall, wondering where the Alpares family waiting room is located. The chibi Saintess Eliana pouts, wishing she had known the Alpares waiting room's location beforehand and wondering if she should ask another servant. Startled, Saintess Eliana asks the brown-haired man in uniform what's wrong, then explains she is looking for the Alpares family waiting room. Saintess Eliana tells the brown-haired man in uniform that she needs to meet a friend from the Alpares family, who he then acknowledges with understanding. The brown-haired man in uniform points down the grand corridor, directing Saintess Eliana to the Alpares family waiting room at the very end. Saintess Eliana thanks the brown-haired man in uniform, who replies, "No problem," as she walks away. Saintess Eliana walks down the grand hall, radiating a divine glow, as an unseen observer confirms her identity as the saint. The brown-haired man in uniform blushes with a heart above his head, thinking the saint is incredibly pretty. Saintess Eliana thoughtfully compares her own appearance and reactions to Cassandra, who is depicted surrounded by shadowy figures and a red-haired woman. Saintess Eliana reflects on the distinct differences between herself and Cassandra, noting that her current demeanor is nothing like Cassandra's, amidst a backdrop of thorny roses. The chibi Saintess Eliana, with a determined pout, prepares for her next action. Saintess Eliana smiles sweetly, ready to make a polite inquiry. Saintess Eliana addresses a gray-haired man with a mustache and a blue uniform, confirming she was told this is the Grand Duke of Alpares' room, and triumphantly noting she found it. The Grand Duke of Alpares, a blonde-haired man with a ponytail and beard, gazes sternly. The red-haired mother, wearing an elegant hat, sips her tea with a composed expression. Cassandra de la Alpares looks away, her expression hinting at a silent reaction to the unfolding events. Cassandra de la Alpares and Saintess Eliana finally face each other, with Cassandra internally acknowledging their long-awaited meeting. Saintess Eliana's thought confirms she found the room, while a wider shot shows Cassandra and the Grand Duke of Alpares already seated in the lavish waiting room. Cassandra de la Alpares looks distressed and teary-eyed, still internally thinking, "We meet at last." Saintess Eliana beams serenely, surrounded by flowers, presenting a picture of perfect saintly grace. The Grand Duke of Alpares looks surprised, questioning Saintess Eliana if she is indeed the saint. Saintess Eliana perceives the Grand Duke of Alpares' calculating gaze, sensing he is judging her worth. Saintess Eliana observes the Grand Duke of Alpares among other nobles, realizing that to him, a person's value is determined solely by how much they can benefit him. Saintess Eliana clasps her hands and smiles confidently, internally challenging the Grand Duke with the thought, "Now, how much am I worth to you?" Saintess Eliana sits at a tea table laden with treats, offering an apology for her unannounced visit. The Grand Duke of Alpares, glowing with charm, expresses flattery at Saintess Eliana's visit and then directly asks the purpose of her call. Saintess Eliana looks surprised and slightly flustered by the Grand Duke's direct question. The Grand Duke of Alpares and another blonde-haired man smile slyly, while the red-haired woman looks angry as the Grand Duke feigns confusion about what the saint is talking about. Foo-foo, Saintess Eliana politely excuses herself and then directly asks the Grand Duke of Alpares what is wrong. Saintess Eliana reveals her true purpose, stating she needs his daughter's help as a shrine maiden, leaving Cassandra de la Alpares looking utterly shocked and overwhelmed. The Grand Duke of Alpares expresses understanding, but with a sweat drop, doubts his daughter's capability for such a significant task. Saintess Eliana, radiating divine light and with the goddess Kybele's image behind her, earnestly begs the Grand Duke, asserting her impolite request is the will of the goddess. The Grand Duke of Alpares strokes his beard thoughtfully, pondering Saintess Eliana's request. A chilling internal thought confirms that the Grand Duke of Alpares will not refuse the saint's request. Amidst a chaotic, crumbling scene, the thought explains that the royal family cannot intervene, leaving the Grand Duke no choice but to appeal to the church. The thought continues, questioning how someone as power-hungry as the Grand Duke could possibly pass up this opportunity. The Grand Duke of Alpares, smiling brightly, shakes Saintess Eliana's hand, signifying his agreement to her request. The Grand Duke of Alpares faces Cassandra and Saintess Eliana, and Cassandra ponders what she should do to thank her father. The Grand Duke of Alpares dismisses Cassandra's gratitude, stating, quote, "No, don't worry about it," and expresses his hope to maintain close ties with the church. Saintess Eliana smiles serenely with hands clasped, simply replying, "Of course," satisfied with the outcome. Saintess Eliana smiles sweetly, asking Cassandra if they should depart together. Cassandra looks deeply troubled, her name appearing in a thought bubble. The Grand Duke of Alpares, with glowing red eyes, sternly orders that the saint be well cared for. Cassandra, looking upset, quietly agrees as Saintess Eliana watches her. As Saintess Eliana and Cassandra walk away, Cassandra exclaims, "Really?" With surprise, Saintess Eliana smiles contentedly while Cassandra observes her with evident worry. Cassandra looks extremely worried, clutching her hand, a sweat drop on her face. Saintess Eliana turns to face Cassandra, who glances back at her. Cassandra, wide-eyed, questions if she's the real Eliana, who hesitantly confirms her identity. Saintess Eliana joyfully embraces a stunned Cassandra, confirming their long-awaited meeting. Cassandra is flustered, muttering, after the unexpected embrace. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra look intently at each other, both blushing. Cassandra seriously questions the mention of Kibale, then declares the saint's earlier claim was a lie. Chibi Cassandra looks incredibly distressed and nervous, sweating profusely. Cassandra looks profoundly shocked as the blonde-haired woman reveals her true purpose, seeing her. Saintess Eliana looks surprised, thinking I knew it, and exclaiming, "Eh?" Cassandra fiercely hugs Saintess Eliana, pleading please, and requesting to remain just a little longer. Cassandra earnestly pleads to remain as Lady Cassandra a little longer, while Eliana looks confused. Saintess Eliana smiles mischievously, asking Cassandra if she is serious. Cassandra, clenching her fists, emphatically confirms her resolve with a blush. Cassandra is in disbelief, thinking no way, and expressing her astonishment at her own thoughts. Cassandra smiles warmly and genuinely, appearing happy and content. A kind blonde woman, Saintess Eliana, holds a baby and leads a young child in her past. Her hand touches an altar, causing blue light to intensely radiate from her body. A surprised Saintess Eliana, radiating light amidst blue roses, learns priests and knights arrived from the capital. Saintess Eliana, with children, is unaware as clerics and knights observe them from a doorway. Saintess Eliana kneels in prayer before a statue, brought to the capital to fulfill the saint's role. A stern, brown-haired woman supervises a worried Saintess Eliana as she practices writing. Saintess Eliana endures endless lessons and resentment, feeling completely drained, observed by shadowy figures. Saintess Eliana cries miserably into her pillow, overwhelmed by her burdens. As the original Saintess Eliana grew weary, her spirit transferred, becoming Lady Cassandra. Cassandra beams, realizing her worries were unnecessary as the Alpares family treated her kindly. Cassandra, with dark green hair, recalls the maid's concern after she accidentally broke a plate. Cassandra, with dark green hair, recounts how maids immediately rushed to her when she called. Cassandra blushes, delighted by the memories, while Saintess Eliana looks on with concern. Saintess Eliana questions if Cassandra's family treats her kindly out of fear, then decides her happiness is fine. Saintess Eliana embraces Cassandra, shedding a tear and acknowledging her hard work. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra share warm smiles, holding each other's arms. Both women hug tightly, both crying in an emotional embrace. Saintess Eliana asks if Cassandra feels better, who tearfully responds, yes. Saintess Eliana smiles gently, extending her hand and expressing her relief. A surprised Eliana asks what's wrong, as Cassandra apologetically explains her reaction. Saintess Eliana looks surprised, as Cassandra admits she couldn't take her eyes off her. Cassandra laughs, asking if she looks strange, to which Eliana playfully agrees. Saintess Eliana, in profile, thinks the priests are worse than she imagined. Saintess Eliana smiles slyly, declaring she just came up with a great idea. Saintess Eliana looks surprised, clutching her chest in astonishment. Saintess Eliana prays, aware the baptismal ritual requires her to display sacred power. Saintess Eliana looks shocked, raising a finger in realization or emphasis. Cassandra looks surprised, echoing the words, sacred power, in thought. Cassandra is suddenly distressed, remembering something important with a shocked expression amidst purple energy. Cassandra looks utterly distraught, clutching her hands, realizing she completely forgot something, and that Lady Cassandra is in big trouble. Saintess Eliana holds Cassandra's shoulders, calmly reassuring her and urging her to relax. Saintess Eliana winks and smiles playfully, pointing a finger as she tells Cassandra she is counting on her. Cassandra beams with happiness and blushes, surrounded by sparkling effects. Saintess Eliana kneels in prayer, bathed in soft blue light and white flowers, contemplating making a wish. Saintess Eliana gazes forward with a solemn expression, reflecting on the thought of a wish. Saintess Eliana clasps her hands in prayer, radiating a gentle light in a moment of devotion. Saintess Eliana expresses surprise, saying, as Cassandra smiles warmly behind her. Chibi Saintess Eliana and Chibi Cassandra face each other, looking serious while having a discussion. Saintess Eliana looks profoundly shocked, questioning if she failed to receive sacred power. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra are engulfed in intense red, fiery energy, noting that Cassandra's aura is fiery red. Saintess Eliana smiles gently, her hand near her chest, in a grand room. Saintess Eliana offers a gentle, reassuring smile to Cassandra. Cassandra looks down, blushing and teary-eyed, lost in thought. Saintess Eliana, surrounded by pink roses, blushes and smiles mischievously, thinking about Cassandra laughing and that the situation is getting fun. Cassandra looks at Saintess Eliana with a blush and teary eyes, asking if she agrees with her sentiment. Cassandra laughs playfully, winking and advising Saintess Eliana not to trust their father and mother. Chibi Saintess Eliana stresses the importance of her message, while Chibi Cassandra notes this is the third time it's been said. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra stand in an ornate room, holding hands and sharing soft smiles. Cassandra looks surprised, responding with a formal "Yes, Lady Cassandra," despite their intimacy. Cassandra slyly raises a finger to her lips, sharing a secret look with Saintess Eliana. Saintess Eliana smiles brightly, pointing a finger, and declares that they no longer need formalities since they share secrets. Cassandra smiles widely and waves goodbye as she walks away, dressed in a beautiful red gown. Saintess Eliana waves cheerfully, saying her thanks and expressing anticipation of seeing Cassandra soon. Saintess Eliana walks away, her back to the viewer, while Cardinal Lorenzo watches her with a worried expression. Cardinal Lorenzo expresses his terror and worry upon hearing about Saintess Eliana's disappearance from the waiting room. Saintess Eliana, with a serious expression, reflects that the man did nothing to help her during difficult times. Cardinal Lorenzo, looking flustered, informs Saintess Eliana that the ceremony is about to start and she should get ready. Saintess Eliana stands beside a worried Cardinal Lorenzo, radiating a soft blue glow surrounded by thorny blue roses. Saintess Eliana confidently states she will fulfill her duty as a saint, dismissing any worries. Cardinal Lorenzo looks at Saintess Eliana with a worried and slightly surprised expression. Saintess Eliana, seen from behind, walks down a grand, brightly lit hall towards a large, arched window. A large crowd gathers outside a grand church building adorned with colorful banners, awaiting Saint Eliana's entrance. Second Prince Leon de Real Castello smiles charmingly, adjusting his attire in an opulent setting. Cassandra looks on, surprised and subtly distressed by the unfolding events. A glowing circular text bubble commands everyone in the room to look at the speaker. Saintess Eliana stands alone on a stage, looking up towards a large, glowing window as petals fall around her. Saintess Eliana smiles serenely, her face bathed in light and surrounded by falling petals. A crowd of nobles watches intently as an unseen speaker announces, "Presenting Saint Eliana." Saintess Eliana radiates divine power, surrounded by pink roses, and declares her intention to display her power. Onlookers whisper that Saintess Eliana appears cool, dignified, and confident, unlike her scared self from the previous year. Saintess Eliana, with closed eyes, feels the pressure of being judged by every movement she makes. Saintess Eliana looks out at the attendees in the grand, ornate hall, her expression composed. Cassandra looks worried and blushes, her thoughts dwelling on her own name. Saintess Eliana makes an okay hand gesture as a chibi Cassandra observes intently. A speech bubble humbly pays respects to, quote, His Majesty, the Sun King of the Kingdom of Castello. Saintess Eliana kneels before the majestic King of Castello, who stands on a raised platform. The King of Castello, smiling kindly, asks Saintess Eliana to offer prayers for their country and its people. Two women in the audience, one blonde and one brown-haired, react with a surprised whoa as glittering particles fill the air. The King of Castello looks surprised, exclaiming, This is, while brilliant orange light emanates across the scene. A second Prince Leon de Real Castello watches, looking serious. The brown-haired woman with red eyes, wearing a red headband, looks on in awe, remarking on how incredible the spectacle is. The white-haired man with yellow eyes smiles knowingly as he watches the intense orange light, mentioning the saint's presence. Saintess Eliana stands on a grand stage, enveloped in a powerful display of vibrant red and orange, fire-like energy that intensely radiates from her. Saintess Eliana glows with gentle serenity, eyes closed and a soft smile on her face as the radiant energy sparks around her. Saintess Eliana stands calmly on the golden stage as a bubble indicates that the ceremony has concluded. A brown-haired man in a blue coat claps his gloved hands, looking surprised by the ceremony's end. Numerous hands clap loudly, filling the grand hall with appreciative applause. Saintess Eliana stands serenely on the illuminated steps, radiating a soft golden glow. The King of Castello claps, smiling, and praises Saint Eliana for her truly splendid work. The King of Castello gestures towards Saintess Eliana, whose determined blue eyes meet his gaze amidst a foreboding dark background. Saintess Eliana smiles gently with closed eyes, appearing content and pleased. A radiant, robed figure with flowing white hair bestows a new power, declaring it is for the prosperity of the Kingdom of Castello. Saintess Eliana smiles brilliantly, radiating light and surrounded by flowers, wishing for eternal flourishing like the sun illuminating the land. Saintess Eliana smiles playfully with red eyes, confirming her agreement with a yes, of course. The King of Castello smiles warmly down at Saintess Eliana, who returns his gaze with a composed expression. Saintess Eliana smiles bashfully, explaining she simply fulfilled her duty and desires nothing. Then, a thought bubble appears, as if she just remembered something important. The King of Castello smiles kindly, expressing his wish to build a good friendship moving forward. Saintess Eliana closes her eyes, thinking with a somber expression that she has never had someone she could truly call a friend. The brown-haired woman looks utterly shocked, exclaiming, "Huh?" as the surrounding crowd shares her astonishment. A red-haired woman in a grand hat smiles widely and exclaims, "You!" A single thought bubble appears, expressing a soft "ah" as the scene transitions with delicate pink rose petals. The red-robed man with a dark beard and glowing orange eyes smiles menacingly, letting out a sinister hee-hee-hee. The King of Castello ponders Saint Eliana's lack of wants, questioning if the goddess forgot to grant her the desire for greed. Saintess Eliana smiles radiantly, extending her hand as she prays for the happiness of every citizen in the kingdom, surrounded by bright flowers. The King of Castello laughs heartily, playfully remarking that Saintess Eliana sure talks big. The King of Castello commands a dark-haired man in uniform to bring her, to which the attendant respectfully responds, "Yes, Your Majesty." The bottom of a lavish red gown with golden embroidery subtly moves, creating a gentle swishing sound. The brown-haired woman, now dressed in a red gown and surrounded by rose petals, looks surprised, a soft "ah" escaping her thoughts. The brown-haired woman in red stands beside the King of Castello, as Saintess Eliana watches, thinking of her gratitude for His Majesty's kindness. Saintess Eliana smiles down warmly at the brown-haired woman, whose back is turned, her dark hair adorned with a ribbon. Saintess Eliana, blushing and smiling warmly, takes the brown-haired woman's hand, earnestly asking her to become her friend. The brown-haired woman looks surprised and blushes, a pause in her thoughts indicated by ellipses. Saintess Eliana leans in to playfully whisper a secret to the brown-haired woman, happily stating they can now see each other anytime. Saintess Eliana and the brown-haired woman stand together, smiling brightly and holding hands, surrounded by a celebratory glow. The King of Castello, Saintess Eliana, and Cassandra stand on the stage as the white-haired man with white hair and reddish eyes looks on, thinking about Lady Cassandra, renowned in high society as a villainess. The white-haired man with reddish eyes smiles sinisterly, his thoughts continuing that such a reputation is not suitable for Cassandra. The grand hall is filled with many attendees seated in pews, creating a bustling atmosphere. Saintess Eliana stands gracefully, her gown flowing as she radiates a serene and gentle glow. Saintess Eliana's elegant golden shoes rest delicately amidst soft pink flowers. Second Prince Leon de Real Castello smiles as he utters Ilia, looking off-panel, with a taller blonde man standing behind him. Saintess Eliana stands in profile, looking calm as she is formally addressed. The blonde man in a black cape and uniform, hand on his chest, announces that this is the first time he's addressing Saintess Eliana directly. The blonde man smiles, revealing his identity as Felipe, first prince of the Kingdom of Castello. First Prince Felipe smiles confidently, while Second Prince Leon de Real Castello looks on with a neutral expression above him. Second Prince Leon de Real Castello stands heroically in a white coat, holding a sword, surrounded by blue flowers and sparkling light. Second Prince Leon de Real Castello looks distressed as onlookers whisper that he is so different from his brother Leon. First Prince Felipe kneels before Saintess Eliana, extending his hand towards her in a respectful gesture. First Prince Felipe smiles charmingly in a close-up, extending his gloved hand. Saintess Eliana looks surprised, her wide blue eyes teary, as she exclaims a confused, "Huh?" Saintess Eliana looks surprised and wonders if the smiling light brown-haired boy, with whom she has never spoken, is plotting something. Saintess Eliana smiles wryly, extending her hand, while the ambitious light brown-haired boy secretly plans to show Prince Leon his capabilities. A sudden purple flash indicates an interruption as a glowing bubble states, "Pardon me." Cardinal Lorenzo addresses Saintess Eliana and another blonde-haired woman, having likely caused the interruption. Cardinal Lorenzo asserts his duty to bring the saint back, his thoughts illuminated against a backdrop of blue foliage. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles gently, requesting to be excused as he prepares to take Saintess Eliana away. Cardinal Lorenzo and First Prince Felipe stand separated by a bright burst of light, and Felipe looks surprised, questioning the cardinal's actions. Saintess Eliana's golden shoes step forward, and a voice suggests an alternative course of action, stating, "In that case." Saintess Eliana smiles brightly, embracing Cassandra, who looks surprised but happy at the gesture of friendship. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra smile radiantly, holding hands amidst a celebratory glow, solidifying their newfound bond. Amidst swirling blue flowers, Saintess Eliana emphatically declares that she does not need either of their help. Saintess Eliana looks seriously, calling out Prince Felipe's name against a turbulent blue background. Cardinal Lorenzo confronts First Prince Felipe, accusing him of turning a blind eye to Saintess Eliana's painful experiences. First Prince Felipe smiles knowingly, remarking on the strength of Saintess Eliana's new friendship and acknowledging that he and Cardinal Lorenzo are excluded. First Prince Felipe closes his eyes with a slight smile, while Cardinal Lorenzo stands behind him, looking serious. Cardinal Lorenzo looks intently, his orange eyes glowing in a serious expression. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra walk away hand in hand, as Cassandra thinks of the Saintess amidst blooming flowers. Cassandra stands next to a grand carriage, watching Saintess Eliana inside as they prepare to depart from the stately building. Cassandra smiles warmly, clasping her hands and declaring her intent to be Saintess Eliana's friend for life. Saintess Eliana smiles pleasantly at Cassandra's heartfelt declaration, considering her words. Saintess Eliana looks thoughtful, expressing a lingering desire to talk more with Lady Cassandra. Cardinal Lorenzo questions Saintess Eliana about her decision to seek Lady Alpares as a friend. Cardinal Lorenzo warns Saintess Eliana that Cassandra is a bad woman, attempting to deter their friendship. Saintess Eliana sternly defends her friend, questioning Cardinal Lorenzo's right to insult Cassandra. Saintess Eliana criticizes the church priest through a window and highlights that Lady Cassandra, unlike them, doesn't belittle her. Cardinal Lorenzo looks down, lost in thought or reflection, indicated by ellipses. Saintess Eliana smiles wryly amidst red roses, asking Cardinal Lorenzo if he would have preferred her to take Prince Felipe's hand. Cardinal Lorenzo looks shocked as Saintess Eliana calmly watches, then an attendant announces their arrival, leading Saintess Eliana to reach out to a glowing light. Saintess Eliana states she is tired and asks to be excused, looking weary in profile. Saintess Eliana walks towards a grand church door, illuminated by sparkling light, marking her entrance. A dark-haired man in a blue uniform stands by a draped bed, where Cardinal Lorenzo is resting in his red robes. Cardinal Lorenzo looks annoyed, questioning the dark-haired man if he heard him. Cardinal Lorenzo reflects in a mirror, realizing he has never done anything supportive for Saintess Eliana. Saintess Eliana stands, surrounded by many hands reaching for her, as Cardinal Lorenzo reflects that he saw her as a mere tool in a power struggle. Saintess Eliana smiles gently among red roses, questioning her own feelings and why she cares. A man's gloved foot, likely Cardinal Lorenzo's, steps onto a platform in preparation. Cardinal Lorenzo looks resolute, his orange eyes glowing, as a text box states. In any case, Cardinal Lorenzo stands outside a majestic church building, looking up towards its towering spire. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles sinisterly amidst thorny blue roses, planning to gain Eliana's trust by dealing with the church's holy maids first. The brown-haired attendant with glasses offers water to Saintess Eliana, while the dark-haired attendant looks on with a smile. Saintess Eliana looks surprised or worried as the brown-haired attendant with glasses braids her hair. A week after the baptismal feast, the Holy Church of Kibali experienced significant turmoil. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles as he reveals he removed many priests, who appear distraught, indicating a major shakeup within the church. Cardinal Lorenzo stands firm, rejecting the pleas of the priests, who had begged and asked for leniency. Saintess Eliana walks away, her long blonde hair flowing as she transitions to another scene. Saintess Eliana holds her head in thought, pondering Cardinal Lorenzo's mysterious motives. Saintess Eliana looks at her reflection while the dark-haired attendant dismisses the other attendant, stating, "That'll be all for now." The brown-haired attendant with glasses and the dark-haired attendant politely excuse themselves as they depart. A door closes or a room is left empty, signifying the attendant's departure. A dark-haired man cautiously peeks through a door, observing the scene with silent intent. The grand hall, adorned with elaborate chandeliers and majestic pillars, stands in silent splendor, hinting at significant events to unfold. Saintess Eliana, seen from behind, listens as Monica, a new brown-haired woman with a cross necklace, smiles brightly and declares she will be the Saintess' personal maid, with Cardinal Lorenzo observing nearby. Monica, the brown-haired woman with a cross necklace, beams radiantly amidst pink flowers, introducing herself by name and expressing her eagerness to work. Cardinal Lorenzo stands beside Monica, explaining that she was recently a priestess in a remote village. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles subtly, his gloved hand resting near his chest, surrounded by delicate pink flowers. Saintess Eliana looks thoughtful, pondering if the church is understaffed due to the recent dismissals. Saintess Eliana looks at Monica, the brown-haired woman, who blushes in surprise and utters a soft "Bach." Saintess Eliana smiles warmly, surrounded by glowing pink flowers, offering comfort. Monica, the brown-haired woman, smiles happily with clasped hands, expressing her joy. Monica thanks Cardinal Lorenzo for the opportunity, while he stands composed in the background. Cardinal Lorenzo places a hand over his chest, thinking that this arrangement might ease the Saintess's heart. Saintess Eliana looks intently, thinking that Cardinal Lorenzo is apologizing for his past misdeeds. Monica, the brown-haired woman, gazes with a gentle smile, surrounded by soft white flowers. Saintess Eliana sits gracefully on a sofa, as Monica, the brown-haired woman, stands attentively beside her. Saintess Eliana smiles brightly, clapping her hands and expressing her desire to get to know Monica better. Monica, the brown-haired woman, blushes and looks overwhelmed, her eyes wide and teary with emotion. Saintess Eliana looks surprised as Monica dashes away in a rush, exclaiming that she'll be right with her. Saintess Eliana smiles softly to herself, suppressing a quiet laugh at Monica's hurried departure. Monica, the brown-haired woman, looks startled, covering part of her face with a piece of cloth while holding a basket of laundry. Monica, the brown-haired woman, looks dismayed as she accidentally drops a tray of teacups, realizing she sometimes makes mistakes. A glowing, golden-robed figure, representing Saintess Eliana, floats amidst fiery orange light, illustrating Monica's deep admiration for her. Monica, the brown-haired woman, looks up with an awestruck expression, reflecting her deep respect for Saintess Eliana. Saintess Eliana smiles gently at Monica, who blushes and flusters, thinking she is hesitant to respond because of who Saintess Eliana truly is. Monica looks shocked as a dark-haired priestess points accusingly at her, starting a confrontation. The dark-haired priestess with blue eyes looks sharply, demanding to know what is happening, while Monica stands anxiously beside her. The dark-haired priestess kneels before Saintess Eliana, who stands beside Monica, offering an apology for the disturbance. Saintess Eliana looks surprised and questions what is wrong, as Monica weeps, apologizing profusely. Saintess Eliana gently touches Monica's arm, urging her to stop apologizing and explain the situation. Monica, the brown-haired woman, cries with tears streaming down her face, revealing she had a quarrel with the priestess. Monica stands in defiance, surrounded by glowing bubbles, while two other dark-haired priestesses laugh mockingly, indicating Monica's anger at their teasing. Monica, the brown-haired woman, bows her head, sorrowfully apologizing for causing trouble. Monica looks deeply distressed and worried, her eyes wide with concern. Saintess Eliana gently cups Monica's face amidst pink roses, telling her not to apologize. Monica, the brown-haired woman, looks down sadly, while Saintess Eliana observes her, noting that Monica even cried. Cardinal Lorenzo stands with a resolute expression, pondering that it's strange since he would have calmed the maids down, surrounded by intricate purple patterns. A dark panel conveys Cardinal Lorenzo's thought that the maids should have known he would find out soon enough. Saintess Eliana looks surprised, asking Monica what is wrong. Monica tearfully tells Saintess Eliana not to mind what was said about her, but Saintess Eliana assures her that it's okay and nothing. Saintess Eliana winks playfully and places a finger to her lips, sharing a secret amidst pink flowers. Saintess Eliana stands looking concerned, surrounded by falling green leaves and dappled sunlight, admitting she is a little worried. Saintess Eliana touches her chin thoughtfully amidst red flowers, pondering if the situation is more serious than simple jealousy. Monica stands with a worried expression, while a dark-haired priestess with an ornate hairstyle stands behind her, a thought bubble indicating concern about the attitude of the priestess Monica argued with. Saintess Eliana muses that it would be fine if it were just simple jealousy, then the scene abruptly shifts to a shadowy eye. 3 days later, a grand church building stands under a bright sky as Monica frantically exclaims that it's a disaster. Saintess Eliana looks shocked and urgently asks Monica what is wrong, sensing her panic. Monica, the brown-haired woman, looks distraught and explains that it's not there. A dazzling empty room is shown, and a text box dramatically reveals that the jewel box with the Tears of Cybele is missing. Saintess Eliana, surrounded by other saintesses praying with closed eyes, is featured under the title card, Tears of Cybele. A text box describes the Tears of Cybele as a unique piece of jewelry, worn only by saintesses. Saintess Eliana looks contemplatively at various jewels, thinking that to her it just seems like another jewel. Monica, distressed, tells Saintess Eliana that the jewel was there last night. Monica cries out in despair, explaining that she looked everywhere today but cannot find it. Saintess Eliana gently cups Monica's face, offering a reassuring smile amidst purple flowers. Saintess Eliana encourages Monica to accompany her to the church, walking away in the ornate room. 2 dark-haired priestesses greet them with sly smiles, remarking on their late arrival. Saintess Eliana smiles sweetly, explaining it took a little longer to get ready today. Saintess Eliana, with a hint of irritation, states she will be more mindful as Monica looks worried beside her. Saintess Eliana looks shocked as a priestess sternly questions why she isn't wearing the tears of Keeble. The dark-haired priestess from earlier smiles, then aggressively confronts Monica, who appears startled and upset. Saintess Eliana smirks, thinking the accusation is a joke, then claims she forgot the jewel in a hurry. The dark-haired priestess scolds Saintess Eliana, emphasizing the jewel's importance, and orders her to retrieve it immediately. Saintess Eliana acknowledges the order and begins to walk away, but Monica, panicked, urges her to wait. The short gray-haired priestess stands with a smug, satisfied expression. Saintess Eliana and Monica walk through the hall, one serene, the other filled with worry. Monica declares she will reveal the truth about the missing jewels, but Saintess Eliana reassures her that it will be okay. Saintess Eliana smiles confidently, advising Monica that one must be confident in such situations. Saintess Eliana looks surprised, stating she couldn't find the jewel. Panic erupts among the attendants and priests, with the older white-haired man declaring the missing church treasure a serious matter. Saintess Eliana smiles slyly, stating she remembers the jewel being in her room yesterday and suspects someone within the church took it. Two dark-haired priestesses express outrage at the accusation, but another voice silences them, agreeing the saintess has a point. The older white-haired man gravely states that if thieves are among them, the entire church is in danger. The older white-haired man urgently orders a dark-haired man to summon the Holy Knights for an immediate investigation, which he swiftly agrees to. Two dark-haired men look shocked, while Monica calls out to Saintess Eliana in the background. Saintess Eliana gently holds Monica's hand, reassuring her they will find the culprit. Saintess Eliana stands in a serene, prayerful pose, surrounded by a radiant glow and flowers. Saintess Eliana greets Cardinal Lorenzo as he approaches, and he mentions Monica had told him about her. Cardinal Lorenzo looks surprised, as the older white-haired man sarcastically apologizes for involving him, but Cardinal Lorenzo cuts him off. Cardinal Lorenzo looks annoyed, as the older white-haired man slyly reassures him the culprit will be found, then warns him about unfavorable news. Monica looks distressed as Cardinal Lorenzo and the older white-haired man stand, poised to deliver significant news. Monica looks utterly shocked and distraught as a voice announces the jewel box was found in Monica's room. Cardinal Lorenzo and the older white-haired man stand together, both with serious expressions. Monica is symbolically isolated and surrounded by hostile figures, thorny branches emphasizing the accusation against her. Saintess Eliana looks on with a concerned and serious expression. Monica looks utterly shocked and horrified, clutching her necklace, emphatically denying the accusation. Monica covers her mouth in despair as text dramatically reveals the tears of Kibolu were found in her room, unequivocally naming her as the thief. Monica cries out in desperate anguish, denying the theft and asserting her loyalty as the Saintess's attendant. The gray-haired priestess smugly points out the jewel box was found in Monica's room, while the dark-haired priestess with an ornate hairstyle condescendingly accuses Monica of theft due to her poor village background, which Monica internally dismisses as absurd. The older white-haired man contemplates the accusation, suggesting a poor village girl might resort to theft, as Monica looks on in shock. Cardinal Lorenzo's eye is seen, a sly smile on his face, as he cunningly remembers who assigned Monica to the Saintess. A voice directly challenges Cardinal Lorenzo, demanding to know how he intends to take responsibility for assigning Monica. The older white-haired man realizes Cardinal Lorenzo is the true target, as a distressed Monica watches, a pawn in the political maneuver. Thorny blue roses emphasize the cruel realization that Monica is just a scapegoat to bring down Cardinal Lorenzo. The dark-haired priestess smiles knowingly as malice, like a fire, spreads, a quick tap sounding, while the older white-haired man looks stern. Malice consumes all around it. A tap sounds, as a lavishly dressed red-haired woman stands imperiously over bowing priestesses, with the narrator noting that no one knows this better than a villainess. Saintess Eliana reaches out decisively amidst fiery orange light, reflecting on how she survived this place, while Monica looks startled behind her. The older white-haired man dismissively acknowledges Saintess Eliana's desire to defend her attendant, but implies a however. Saintess Eliana smiles slyly as a voice confirms the jewelry box has indeed been found. Saintess Eliana smiles cunningly amidst red roses, challenging whether the tears of Kybali are actually inside the found jewelry box. The short, gray-haired priestess looks utterly shocked and flustered, vehemently claiming she could not be mistaken about the jewel. Saintess Eliana muses that something is strange, as a worried Monica stands beside her, facing an angry, gray-haired priestess. Saintess Eliana recognizes the jewel box hasn't been used in ages, then reacts with shock, questioning if that can't be. Saintess Eliana slyly asks Monica for confirmation, leaving Monica startled and hesitant. A tense close-up on a wide, shocked eye, framed by thorns, emphasizes the deepening crisis. Monica looks distressed, confirming that's right. Cardinal Lorenzo demands to know if that's how it is, then, while the dark-haired attendant looks worried, attempting to deny it. Gloved hands pressed together convey a moment of prayer or solemn resolve. Saintess Eliana prays with closed eyes, stating her understanding of the situation. A hand holds the missing tears of Kybali jewel as a voice questions if this pointless exchange can finally end. Saintess Eliana smiles, instructing a red-haired knight to bring the jewelry box, which he swiftly agrees to. Saintess Eliana smirks, preparing to open the jewel box and see what is inside. A golden key is inserted into the elaborate lock of the blue and gold jewel box. Saintess Eliana looks surprised, holding the now unlocked jewel box. Saintess Eliana looks down, stating this is, as three dark-haired priestesses watch her intently. An ornate red floral pattern sets a dramatic mood as Saintess Eliana stands poised for revelation. Saintess Eliana opens the ornate jewel box with a cunning smile, revealing it to be completely empty. The gray-haired priestess reacts with shock and disbelief, exclaiming that can't be, as Saintess Eliana calmly observes. The now empty jewel box is dramatically shown, accompanied by a soft awe of realization. Saintess Eliana smirks at the gray-haired priestess, declaring she had already warned her. Saintess Eliana smiles, holding up the empty jewel box for all to see. The dark-haired priestess with an ornate hairstyle looks utterly shocked, claiming there's still a chance the jewel was taken out. Saintess Eliana winks, holding the key, and points out that the box cannot be opened without her unique key. The dark-haired priestess with an ornate hairstyle stares in shock as Saintess Eliana holds the key, stating her accusation is incorrect. The older white-haired man looks distressed, demanding to know the current location of the tears of Kybali. The older white-haired man questions Saintess Eliana's unusual calm, but she insists she has no idea where the jewel is. Cardinal Lorenzo and Saintess Eliana stand together, observing the older white-haired man. Cardinal Lorenzo declares that arguing is futile and orders everyone to continue the search. The older white-haired man reluctantly agrees to resume the search. Cardinal Lorenzo gestures decisively, instructing a group of men in blue uniforms, who confirm with a unified yes. Saintess Eliana glances with concern at Monica, who appears startled and worried. Saintess Eliana instructs someone to remain behind and closely monitor the situation. The gray-haired priestess believes the others are bound to make a mistake, while the older white-haired man watches her suspiciously. A hand reaches out towards Cardinal Lorenzo, who looks over his shoulder. Saintess Eliana smiles brightly at Cardinal Lorenzo, inviting him to accompany her. Cardinal Lorenzo gives a knowing smirk, indicating he understands the implication. Saintess Eliana and Cardinal Lorenzo walk away together down a grand hall, observed by two dark-haired men. Monica stands isolated and worried among a crowd of distressed onlookers. Monica looks determined, her eyes glowing orange, surrounded by radiant purple patterns. A close-up on Monica's hand holding her silver cross necklace, surrounded by blue and purple roses, symbolizes her current predicament. Cardinal Lorenzo questions Saintess Eliana's intentions and she calmly replies that she intends to search for the tears of Kibali. Saintess Eliana, with a sly smile, asks Cardinal Lorenzo about the ongoing situation, to which he inquires, "What situation?" Cardinal Lorenzo reveals that Monica is being framed and suspects a connection between the accusing priestess and himself. Cardinal Lorenzo reveals that the priestess is a direct servant of Pope Francisco. Cardinal Lorenzo explains that Pope Francisco preaches only to nobility and desires to maintain the old system reliant on large donations. Cardinal Lorenzo laments that the Church relies too heavily on power and cannot genuinely help commoners. Cardinal Lorenzo shares that he and the Pope are adversaries, implying Monica's frame-up is due to the Pope's resentment towards him. A glowing fist clenches in determination amidst swirling purple light, conveying the thought. However, Cardinal Lorenzo, resolute, states he cannot stop them simply for this, vowing to act until the Church is truly reformed. Saintess Eliana looks at Cardinal Lorenzo, contemplating his words with an HMPH. Cardinal Lorenzo stands with crossed arms, acknowledging the situation as surprising. Cardinal Lorenzo stands beside the older white-haired man, concluding that the priestess's true goal is to depose him and earn the Pope's trust. Saintess Eliana contemplates a priestess consumed by ambition as a soft mutter sounds, then dismisses the thought, stating, "That's not funny." Cardinal Lorenzo looks concerned, asking Saintess. Saintess Eliana smiles slyly, telling Cardinal Lorenzo to leave it to her. Cassandra is engulfed in menacing flames, while Saintess Eliana confidently declares she will ensure everything goes smoothly. A dramatic thought bubble rhetorically challenges if the opponent realizes who they have picked a fight with. Saintess Eliana winks and smiles, asking if someone will cooperate. Cardinal Lorenzo looks confused, asking, as Saintess Eliana looks away shyly. Saintess Eliana and Cardinal Lorenzo continue walking away together down a grand hall, observed by two dark-haired men. Monica urgently calls out to Saintess Eliana, who looks surprised. Monica smiles broadly and blushes happily, surrounded by flower patterns. Saintess Eliana observes a group of clerics, including Monica, and announces her return before adding, by the way. Saintess Eliana observes the agitated clerics and questions what is happening among them. Monica explains to Saintess Eliana that an argument occurred after she left the room. Saintess Eliana asks if there was an argument as a gray-haired man with a bandaged head points accusingly at a distressed dark-haired woman, recounting their questions. Saintess Eliana slyly acknowledges the information about the woman leaving the room, stating, "I see." A brown-haired man in a blue uniform dramatically enters, shouting, "Excuse me!" The brown-haired man announces the discovery of the tears of Kibale, shocking Saintess Eliana, Monica, and Cardinal Lorenzo. The brown-haired man urgently asks where exactly the jewel was found, learning it was in front of the priestess room, which shocks Saintess Eliana. The older white-haired man smugly criticizes the carelessness with the church's treasure, while Saintess Eliana asserts she put the jewel in the box yesterday. Monica cries out in shock, revealing the jewel was missing when she checked the room. Saintess Eliana contemplates that someone intentionally placed the jewel in front of her room. The question of the culprit's identity hangs in the air. Saintess Eliana smirks, hinting she knows who the culprit is as a dark-haired woman stands behind her. Saintess Eliana cunningly asks Cardinal Lorenzo for his opinion on the situation, while a gray-haired man observes. Cardinal Lorenzo calmly asserts that a simple investigation will uncover the truth. A shimmering, abstract background with blue and purple light creates a moment of anticipation. Cardinal Lorenzo sternly vows punishment for the guilty, unsettling the dark-haired priestess who looks distressed. Saintess Eliana observes three priestesses, concluding someone deliberately placed the tears of Kibale near her room. Saintess Eliana looks distressed, wondering who would commit such an act, as the gray-haired priestess watches. Saintess Eliana smiles cunningly, touching her lips, while the dark-haired priestess below looks surprised and ponders the culprit's identity. The older white-haired man smiles broadly, pointing his finger, and declares that a traitor must not go unpunished. Cardinal Lorenzo sternly declares they will soon uncover the truth and punish the culprit accordingly. Saintess Eliana slyly asks the older white-haired man what happened, causing him to look flustered and humorously to himself consider her as the culprit. Saintess Eliana smiles, revealing another lost item was discovered near her room. A dark-haired woman and a brown-haired man in a blue uniform react with shock, exclaiming, "What?" Saintess Eliana discreetly places a sparkling object into Cardinal Lorenzo's hand. Saintess Eliana menacingly holds up a white hair clip, challenging others to identify its owner. A worried brown-haired man in a blue uniform addresses Cardinal Lorenzo, saying, "Excuse me." The dark-haired priestess recognizes the hair clip, believing it belongs to someone present. Saintess Eliana denies the implication with a distressed look, recalling the person's insistence on the importance of quote, 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 quote. The older white-haired man, looking distressed, urges caution, suggesting a direct check to confirm the truth. Cardinal Lorenzo places a hand on the distressed older white-haired man's shoulder, asking, "Right?" with a cunning look. Cardinal Lorenzo decisively orders someone to be taken away. The distressed, dark-haired priestess struggles and cries out, "No," as the brown-haired man in uniform restrains her. The older white-haired man appears utterly dejected and defeated. The distressed older white-haired man hopes this incident is finally over. Saintess Eliana confidently states, "Now," then asks if everyone understands the situation, as the dark-haired woman and brown-haired man look slightly uneasy. Cardinal Lorenzo confidently speaks of the saint's splendor and the fate awaiting those who dare to harm her or the church. Monica calls out to Saintess Eliana, who looks at her. Saintess Eliana smiles at a relieved Monica, concluding that the situation is settled. Saintess Eliana smiles slyly, holding a small plant, as a startled reaction is heard from someone off-panel. The scene reveals the jewel was never truly present, as a hand turns a doorknob, implying a covert operation. A flashback shows the blonde woman, with the help of the white-haired man, stealing from the priestess's room, then the blonde woman smirks at the white-haired man. The blonde woman smiles cunningly, her eyes shadowed in a moment of satisfaction. Monica anxiously questions the status of the, quote, tears of Kebele while facing Saintess Eliana. Saintess Eliana smiles, holding the jewel and confirming the knight returned the real tears of Kebele to her, shocking Monica. Saintess Eliana smiles, wearing the, quote, tears of Kybla as a necklace, revealing she simply forgot to put it away. Cardinal Lorenzo questions Saintess Eliana, asking when she suspected the dark-haired priestess was involved. A thought bubble reveals the speaker unexpectedly saw the dark-haired priestess last night, linking to the growing suspicion. The grand, ornate blue room stands empty, filled with quiet anticipation. Monica recounts seeing someone steal the jewelry box while Saintess Eliana lay in bed. Saintess Eliana's blue eye is shown in a close-up, revealing her realization that someone was scheming. The dark-haired woman with gray streaks explains she had the knight retrieve and return the box, smiling triumphantly. Saintess Eliana respectfully asks Cardinal Lorenzo to handle the developing situation. Cardinal Lorenzo confidently accepts the task, vowing to purge corruption from the church. Monica blushes with distress, internalizing a comforting assurance that she will be fine. Monica's teary, blushing face shows deep emotion as a comforting promise of protection is heard. Saintess Eliana embraces an emotional Monica from behind, amidst a backdrop of pink flowers. Saintess Eliana holds Monica tightly, her eyes glowing with a warning that her protection is conditional on Monica's loyalty. Two dark-haired women discuss, with one asking what occurred, and the other clarifying if she meant the priestess. The dark-haired priestess lies distraught on the glowing blue floor, as narration condemns her for sacrilege. The dark-haired priestess lies on the floor behind prison bars, looking up from her blue-lit confinement. A hand slams a teacup, spilling liquid with a ka-ching sound, followed by an exclamation of "Ridiculous!" Monica looks shocked and fearful, contemplating the potential wrath of the goddess if the sacrilege truly occurred. Saintess Eliana calmly questions Monica about her concerns, while Monica begins to object. A divine-looking blonde woman with golden ornaments smiles serenely, her eyes closed in peaceful contemplation. A glowing blue orb accompanies the cynical declaration that goddesses merely observe and mock human disputes. Saintess Eliana looks contemplative, reflecting on choices leading to salvation or disaster, while Cassandra resolves to forge her own path. A close-up highlights Cardinal Lorenzo's white hair and piercing golden eye. A voice addresses Cardinal Lorenzo, calling out, "Your Eminence the Cardinal." Cardinal Lorenzo suddenly confronts Saintess Eliana, questioning her unexpected presence. Cardinal Lorenzo informs Monica he needs to speak with the saint. Monica blushes and excuses herself, offering to return if needed. Cardinal Lorenzo pauses at the doorway, beginning to speak. Cardinal Lorenzo, looking serious, states, "The matter concerns the priestess." A menacing red and dark background shows a folded paper containing suspicious white powder. The dark-haired priestess tragically clutches her throat amidst a blood-splattered background, as narration reveals she died from self-poisoning. Dripping red liquid and splatters intensify the dark and ominous scene. Saintess Eliana looks visibly shocked and distressed by the news of the poisoning. Cardinal Lorenzo appears thoughtful, suspecting something is amiss despite his thorough prior checks for hidden items. The blue-glowing Pope Francisco is depicted as having cut off the priestess, with others looking up in fear. The scene darkens with the revelation that the conspirators sought to bring down Cardinal Lorenzo. Saintess Eliana shares that the priestess was merely following instructions from a pro-Pope priest. Saintess Eliana contemplates the information with a thoughtful, Cardinal Lorenzo stands over the distressed, dark-haired priestess, extracting what little information he could from his interrogation. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles ominously, admitting he couldn't get full confirmation this time, but hints at more. Cardinal Lorenzo confidently asserts they will uncover evidence of the Pope's involvement and then seize control. Cardinal Lorenzo, surprised, questions Saintess Eliana, whose back is turned to him. Saintess Eliana senses and remarks on Cardinal Lorenzo's powerful spirit. Amidst an ornate golden background, a blessing from the goddess is bestowed upon the eminence. Saintess Eliana smiles contentedly, her hands gracefully clasped, amidst a vibrant bed of pink roses. Cardinal Lorenzo looks surprised, his golden eyes wide, against a soft, floral background. Cardinal Lorenzo blushes and looks away, appearing flustered and deep in thought. Saintess Eliana is shown in a chibi style, looking flustered with sweat drops, as a giku sound indicates her anxiety. Saintess Eliana looks seriously at Cardinal Lorenzo, who turns away as a koha sound is heard. An elegant, ornate archway adorned with flowing pink wisteria-like flowers creates a graceful backdrop. Cardinal Lorenzo kneels, gracefully kissing Saintess Eliana's hand, surrounded by lush pink roses, a moment of chivalry. Cardinal Lorenzo gazes subtly at Saintess Eliana while kissing her hand, a hint of emotion in his golden eyes. Saintess Eliana stands elegantly with her back to the viewer, her long blonde hair flowing, looking out a large window in a refined room. Saintess Eliana contemplates that her opponents are 1 or 2 steps ahead, her expression thoughtful. Monica expresses concern, asking Saintess Eliana if she is tired. Saintess Eliana assures Monica she is fine and not to worry, while Monica, hands clasped, appears hesitant. Saintess Eliana reflects that Monica has become more devoted and she's glad for her admiration, but wonders if she is relying too much on her. Monica informs Saintess Eliana that a letter has arrived for her, surprising Saintess Eliana. A hand holds an elegantly decorated letter addressed from Cassandra, adorned with a red flower and gold ribbon. The beautifully crafted envelope, prominently featuring Cassandra de la Alparez, is held delicately. The open letter, addressed Dear Saint Eliana, is presented against a backdrop of white roses. Lady Cassandra intently writes a letter with a quill, her dark hair with red streaks falling over her shoulder in an opulent room. Saintess Eliana looks utterly perplexed, holding the letter, as question marks float around her head. Lady Cassandra, thinking that she and Eliana have exchanged places, concludes they need to exchange information. A dark, unsettling scene shows a thought bubble expressing, "She said she was fine," followed by 4 shadowy maids, then a worried thought about whether everything is truly all right. Monica beams, agreeing to bring the carriage around for Saintess Eliana, who is planning to go out. Saintess Eliana looks surprised and concerned, holding the letter she has just received. A grand, opulent palace stands under a bright blue sky with an elegant horse-drawn carriage awaiting outside. Lady Cassandra, with a radiant smile, warmly greets Saintess Eliana, who thanks her for the invitation. An empty, brightly lit hallway in a grand house adorned with ornate white and gold decor. A large window frames the interior of the house, with a thought remarking that nothing much has changed within. Lady Cassandra happily greets her maid, who smiles warmly in return, relieved to see her. Lady Cassandra's maid observes that Eliana seems happier than she had anticipated. The grand exterior of a palace is shown under a bright sky, with a voice cheerfully exclaiming, "Come on in!" A hand carefully places a teacup on an ornate table, setting the scene for a discussion. Lady Cassandra smiles broadly, admitting her nervousness about having friends over for the first time. Saintess Eliana smiles back, confessing that she feels the same nervousness. Lady Cassandra sits across from Saintess Eliana at a table, confirming they are ready to proceed. Lady Cassandra suggests to Saintess Eliana that they discuss their future, sitting across a sunlit table. Saintess Eliana asks Lady Cassandra if she is hiding something, causing Lady Cassandra to blush and look surprised. Lady Cassandra flinches and appears distressed, denying that she is hiding anything. Saintess Eliana, with a hand on her chest, offers to listen if Lady Cassandra has a problem. Saintess Eliana embraces a distressed Lady Cassandra, calling her name to offer comfort. Saintess Eliana coyly teases Lady Cassandra, saying her letter reveals her as a shy lady. Saintess Eliana, pointing her finger, asks Lady Cassandra to explain what happened. Saintess Eliana, distressed and clutching Lady Cassandra, questions what Prince Leon has done, while Lady Cassandra denies anything happened. An open letter, surrounded by dark blue roses, reveals Lady Cassandra's request for Prince Leon to break off their engagement through her family. Saintess Eliana observes that Prince Leon is shifting blame to Lady Cassandra because he can't break off the engagement himself. Prince Leon smirks menacingly, his red eyes glowing, as he wonders how far he can push his schemes amidst dark purple roses. Lady Cassandra confronts Saintess Eliana, asking if she wants to be with Prince Leon. Lady Cassandra thinks back to a moment with Prince Leon, recalling how annoying it was when people tried to court her, even as a saint. Lady Cassandra firmly states that despite Prince Leon's wonderful fiancé, she would never allow such a person to court her, as a ka-ching sound is heard. Lady Cassandra chuckles knowingly, and Saintess Eliana looks surprised, then questions, "Lady Cassandra?" Saintess Eliana looks worriedly at Lady Cassandra, who smiles coyly in response. Saintess Eliana winks playfully, stating that no one would want such a rude person. Lady Cassandra, looking worried, calls out, "Prue, please, wait," in front of a grand building entrance. Saintess Eliana and Lady Cassandra stand together, looking at the back of a blonde-haired man, Prince Leon. Saintess Eliana looks flustered, thinking, "Your Highness," amidst a frosty, cold background. Prince Leon grins menacingly, his red eyes glowing with dark magic, surrounded by vibrant purple and blue roses. Saintess Eliana and Lady Cassandra look surprised as Prince Leon states, "There you are." Prince Leon, with glowing red eyes, smirks while Saintess Eliana thinks, "Your Highness," amidst glowing blue roses. Saintess Eliana questions if Prince Leon wanted to meet Lady Cassandra, who appears distressed beside her. Prince Leon declares Saintess Eliana is the only woman he wants to see, extending his hand with a charming smile. Prince Leon smiles cunningly, revealing he sent someone to find Saintess Eliana's carriage after the church refused to disclose her location. Saintess Eliana glares, thinking Prince Leon is disgusting and out of his mind for pursuing her this way. Saintess Eliana informs Prince Leon that she is having tea with her dear friend Lady Cassandra. Saintess Eliana sternly asserts that she does not remember inviting Prince Leon. Saintess Eliana asks Lady Cassandra for confirmation, and Lady Cassandra happily agrees. Prince Leon winks, questioning why he needs permission to see Saintess Eliana, adding, "Besides, Prince Leon dramatically claims Lady Cassandra is the most evil woman and asserts he would never allow her near Saintess Eliana. Prince Leon looks surprised and flustered by the woman in front of him. Saintess Eliana firmly tells Prince Leon not to insult her friend, Lady Cassandra, who looks distressed behind her. Prince Leon, looking flustered, tries to justify his words by claiming he is speaking for Saintess Eliana. Prince Leon thinks Lady Cassandra has the audacity to treat him with disdain, amidst thorny red roses. Lady Cassandra thinks back to Prince Leon, recalling how he perceived her as taking advantage of her position, looking down on him as if he were an imbecile. Prince Leon denounces Lady Cassandra as evil for not kneeling for forgiveness, while Saintess Eliana quietly wonders why she should kneel to him. Prince Leon, with a menacing glare, asserts that Lady Cassandra is just an object, and that Saintess Eliana wants to break the engagement because she cannot forgive him for giving in. Saintess Eliana, angered, tells Prince Leon that's enough, as Lady Cassandra looks worried behind her. Saintess Eliana decisively commands enough, looking firmly at Prince Leon. Lady Cassandra looks angry and blushes, declaring she is not the kind of woman Prince Leon should dare to make fun of. Prince Leon, with a confident smirk, implies he correctly assessed the situation, recalling his belief that Cassandra is inherently like this. The blonde-haired man Prince Leon stands with Lady Cassandra as a voice, seemingly from Saintess Eliana, states, "Yeah, that's really disrespectful." Prince Leon smirks, asking if they agree that this evil wretch Lady Cassandra is unfit to be his fiancée. Prince Leon reaches out his hand towards Saintess Eliana, asserting that only Saintess Eliana. Saintess Eliana, with a subtle smirk, thinks how unsuitable, judging Prince Leon as truly no match for Lady Cassandra. Prince Leon looks shocked and distressed, exclaiming, "What?" Saintess Eliana sternly tells Prince Leon he's been insulting her dearest friend for too long and is just trying to tear her apart. Saintess Eliana, with a gentle smile, questions Prince Leon's authority to make such statements. Saintess Eliana, with a knowing smirk, asks if Prince Leon thinks he is in a higher position than the king. Prince Leon looks utterly shocked and enraged, exclaiming, "What?" Saintess Eliana closes her eyes with a calm smile, declaring she will appeal directly to His Majesty the King if Prince Leon disturbs her any longer. Prince Leon grimaces in frustration, letting out an "Ugh!" Prince Leon dismisses Saintess Eliana and Lady Cassandra, claiming, "Saintess Eliana is mine." Prince Leon walks away, thinking, "What the hell?" and expressing disbelief that he has to leave for the sake of the kingdom, while Saintess Eliana looks on thoughtfully. Lady Cassandra calls out Eliana, looking concerned. Saintess Eliana smiles contentedly, her hands gracefully clasped amidst a vibrant bed of pink roses. Saintess Eliana expresses happiness that Lady Cassandra protected her, while a chibi Lady Cassandra looks flustered. Saintess Eliana contemplates that they should take measures against Prince Leon as soon as possible, but is unsure how to break off the engagement. Lady Cassandra asks Saintess Eliana what she wants to do, stating she won't forgive anyone for insulting her friend. Saintess Eliana smiles nervously, while a chibi Lady Cassandra looks fiercely determined. Lady Cassandra, looking determined, states they will have to think of something, acknowledging Prince Leon is a prince. Saintess Eliana smirks, contemplating that if they proceed, they will really make Prince Leon pay for his actions. Saintess Eliana and Lady Cassandra both acknowledge the uncertainty of their future together. Lady Cassandra blushes and looks distressed, simply saying, "That's." Cassandra, with red streaks in her hair, questions a surprised Saintess Eliana if she dislikes the current situation. Saintess Eliana expresses mild disagreement, then questions if she is disliked because she is a villainess. Cassandra, blushing and with wide red eyes, vehemently denies that Saintess Eliana is a villainess. Two smiling brown-haired maids present trays laden with teapots and cups, surrounded by cheerful yellow flowers. Saintess Eliana questions with surprise if they are truly alike, and Cassandra happily confirms it. Saintess Eliana looks wide-eyed and slightly confused, with a blush on her cheeks. Called by name, Cassandra blushes and waves her hands in distress, vehemently denying any issue. Chibi versions of Cassandra and Saintess Eliana reveal Cassandra's distress and Eliana's quiet agreement. Cassandra makes a cute, pouty expression, sighing softly. Saintess Eliana tenderly checks on Cassandra, who softly confirms she is all right. Saintess Eliana cunningly smiles, noting Cassandra's unexpected stubbornness. Cassandra looks shocked and distressed, blaming herself for the situation. Saintess Eliana questions if she is the cause, while Cassandra hesitates, looking away. Saintess Eliana winks mischievously, stating they must ensure Prince Leon suffers. In chibi form, Cassandra excitedly agrees, while Saintess Eliana watches with a faint smile. An unseen person sips tea, pondering what their next move will be. Saintess Eliana smiles, holding a hairpin, and reminds someone about the king's approaching birthday. The kingdom celebrates His Majesty's grand birthday party, attended by all nobles and saints. Saintess Eliana sheepishly admits she skipped some birthday events to avoid Prince Leon. A thought surfaces about Prince Leon potentially causing trouble, as syrup is poured onto a strawberry cake. Saintess Eliana eagerly eats cake, growing excited, while Cassandra observes, questioning the lingering problem. Saintess Eliana winks and smiles, keeping her plans a secret from a surprised Cassandra. Saintess Eliana smiles apologetically, mentioning her extensive preparations. Saintess Eliana contemplates action and the need for help. A voice hints at a coming event, and Cassandra agrees. Saintess Eliana winks and asks for Cassandra's help, to which a flustered Cassandra readily agrees. Saintess Eliana stands formally before Cardinal Lorenzo, who is seated at his desk. Cardinal Lorenzo, with white hair and golden eyes, looks calm and observant. Saintess Eliana beams brightly, her hands clasped in a gesture of plea or joy amidst a pink floral backdrop. Cardinal Lorenzo looks utterly shocked, leaning forward and exclaiming his agreement. Cardinal Lorenzo questions Saintess Eliana's motives, who explains her saintly duties, but with a hidden implication. Saintess Eliana gives a chillingly ominous smile, seeing the upcoming birthday celebration as a perfect opportunity. Saintess Eliana closes her eyes in annoyance, bothered by Prince Leon's advances. Saintess Eliana, distressed, recalls the unforgivable act of Prince Leon hurting Lady Cassandra. Saintess Eliana observes Cardinal Lorenzo from across the room. Saintess Eliana thinks with an ellipsis, revealing the saint herself asked her to be her friend. Cardinal Lorenzo closes his eyes and places a hand over his chest, deep in contemplation. A thought bubble reveals a desire to personally evaluate what kind of person she is. Cardinal Lorenzo looks shocked, while Saintess Eliana, thinking weird, wonders if Cardinal Lorenzo sees her as merely a toy. Cassandra blushes and smiles, adorned with jewelry and flowers, contemplating her role as a villainess. Saintess Eliana observes a surprised and blushing Cardinal Lorenzo as he thanks her. Cardinal Lorenzo cautiously asks Saintess Eliana if she plans to banish Prince Leon, to which she readily confirms. Saintess Eliana smiles and winks, confidently making a peace sign. Cardinal Lorenzo looks wide-eyed and utterly surprised, surrounded by unspoken questions. Saintess Eliana smiles happily and blushes, her plan seemingly unfolding. Cardinal Lorenzo blushes and looks surprised, uttering a confused, "Huh?" Cardinal Lorenzo, blushing, pauses and then asks in surprise if she desires them to become lovers. Saintess Eliana smiles mischievously, confirming her request but clarifying they will only pretend to be lovers. Cardinal Lorenzo looks happily relieved and blushes, a smile spreading across his face. Cardinal Lorenzo, with closed eyes, thoughtfully questions how Prince Leon will be punished. Saintess Eliana confidently declares her plans for punishment are easy, even with her lover. Saintess Eliana, shown in silhouette, details her plan to Cardinal Lorenzo, also in silhouette, to inform all attendees of something important at the king's birthday, as a magnificent crown rests below. The conversation continues. Revealing the plan includes informing His Majesty the King himself, against a backdrop of royal robes. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles slyly, his golden eyes gleaming as he ponders the implications of Saintess Eliana's words. Saintess Eliana, with her eyes concealed by shadow, concludes her thought with a decisive, "That's why," as Cardinal Lorenzo listens. Saintess Eliana, hands clasped, addresses Cardinal Lorenzo with a bright smile. Cardinal Lorenzo blushes, looking somewhat flustered by Saintess Eliana's direct approach. Cardinal Lorenzo, still blushing slightly, acknowledges Saintess Eliana's request with a thoughtful right. Saintess Eliana raises a finger, her blue eyes wide, stating that there is only one condition for her plan. Saintess Eliana looks up at Cardinal Lorenzo, who places a hand on his chest, a subtle smile playing on his lips. Cardinal Lorenzo gestures, seemingly accepting the condition, while Saintess Eliana looks on. Saintess Eliana smiles cunningly, touching her chin as if pleased with the agreement. Cardinal Lorenzo blushes, looking pleased by Saintess Eliana's words, as she states he truly is something. The scene transitions to a grand ornate room, sparkling with light, awaiting new developments. Saintess Eliana cheerfully invites someone to attend the birthday celebration with her. Monica is overjoyed and tearfully exclaims her disbelief at attending His Majesty's birthday party. Saintess Eliana advises Monica not to get too happy yet, as preparations are needed, to which Monica enthusiastically agrees. Monica ponders what preparations mean, then excitedly realizes it involves getting her ready for the party. The exterior of Monroy's boutique is shown, a fashionable establishment ready for party preparations. Marilu Monroy, the red-haired owner of the boutique, smiles confidently and introduces herself. Saintess Eliana, hands clasped, thanks Marilu Monroy for seeing her. Marilu Monroy smiles brightly, clasping her hands in welcome. Monica looks flustered and confused as Marilu Monroy speaks, while Saintess Eliana looks on. Saintess Eliana calmly reassures Monica, explaining that Marilu Monroy will be looking after them today. Monica, blushing and flustered, excitedly introduces herself. Marilu Monroy laughs lightly, returning a friendly greeting to Monica. Saintess Eliana beams happily, her hands clasped, pleased with the unfolding situation. Marilu Monroy assures them she will prepare something worthy of being next to the Saintess. Two brown-haired maids escort a flustered Monica as Marilu Monroy invites them to follow her. Saintess Eliana watches with a subtle smile as Marilu Monroy leads a startled Monica away. A grandfather clock indicates the passage of time, making Saintess Eliana wonder if it's almost time. A grand door opens, with a cheerful voice welcoming someone to the shop. Saintess Eliana looks surprised as she greets the dark-haired woman. Saintess Eliana smiles cunningly, remarking that the dark-haired woman indeed came. Cassandra smiles excitedly, pumping her fists in agreement. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra sit at a table in a bright room, and Cassandra apologizes for the suddenness. Saintess Eliana smiles, explaining she wanted to ensure everything was in order for the birthday party. Cassandra looks distraught, urging Saintess Eliana not to apologize. Cassandra expresses concern, stating that His Eminence the Cardinal is a difficult man. Saintess Eliana sips tea, calmly agreeing with Cassandra's observation. Cassandra tries to speak, but cuts herself off, looking surprised and pointing a finger. Cassandra apologizes as Saintess Eliana calmly sips her tea. Cassandra, looking worried, expresses her hesitation to disagree with Saintess Eliana's plan. Saintess Eliana listens patiently as Cassandra reiterates her concern about Cardinal Lorenzo being a difficult man. Saintess Eliana reassures Cassandra with a gentle smile, telling her not to worry. Saintess Eliana thanks Cassandra for worrying about her. Saintess Eliana playfully touches Cassandra's hair, smiling widely. A chibi Saintess Eliana gently cups the blushing chibi Cassandra's face, comforting her. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra stand together as a voice welcomes them to the shop. Several brown-haired shop attendants bow deeply in greeting, welcoming them to the boutique. A golden-haired queen, adorned with a crown and fan, smiles radiantly as she bids them farewell. The first queen, Isabel Castillo, mother of Prince Leon, is formally introduced. A flashback shows Isabel Castillo became queen after the accidental death of the previous queen, with rumors implying her possible involvement. Queen Isabel, fanning herself, speaks an incomplete greeting, her eyes shining with cunning. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra respectfully greet Queen Isabel, expressing their honor in meeting her. Saintess Eliana looks surprised, mentioning her unexpected presence at the boutique. Your Highness. Queen Isabel explains that being in the palace is stuffy, so she sometimes needs a break from it all. Queen Isabel then turns her attention to a flustered Cassandra. Queen Isabel covers her mouth with her fan, apologizing to Cassandra about her son. Queen Isabel, looking between Saintess Eliana and Cassandra, acknowledges that her son also caused trouble for them both. Queen Isabel blushes and promises to speak to her son, Prince Leon, about his behavior next time. Saintess Eliana muses that Queen Isabel seems to be considering an alliance with her. Queen Isabel stands thoughtfully in a grand dress, pondering whether the Alpares family or the church would be more advantageous for her. Saintess Eliana, looking contemplative, realizes that Queen Isabel's visit today is no coincidence. Saintess Eliana smiles menacingly, finding the situation convenient and affirming her thought. Saintess Eliana explains to Queen Isabel that both she and Lady Cassandra have endured significant trouble. Queen Isabel looks shocked, gasping, "Oh no," as she lowers her fan. Queen Isabel, with a distressed expression, questions if Prince Leon has been doing that to both of them. Saintess Eliana reveals that Prince Leon has been constantly courting her, a saint, despite his engagement to Lady Cassandra. Saintess Eliana adds that Prince Leon further humiliates Lady Cassandra at every opportunity. A dark-haired woman, surrounded by thorns, represents the shredding of Cassandra's dignity. Saintess Eliana, with closed eyes, respectfully implores Queen Isabel to rebuke Prince Leon. Queen Isabel, with a serious expression, considers the upcoming birthday celebration as the opportune moment. Queen Isabel, with a determined expression, acknowledges Saintess Eliana's request, uttering "understood." Saintess Eliana beams happily, thanking Queen Isabel very much. Queen Isabel assures Saintess Eliana that they can now enjoy the birthday without worrying. Saintess Eliana and Cassandra both blush and excitedly agree with Queen Isabel. Queen Isabel, turning her back, says her goodbyes, indicating her departure. Saintess Eliana, looking inquisitive, asks if Queen Isabel is already leaving. Queen Isabel, showing her elegant shoes, reiterates that she just came to relax. Queen Isabel departs, stating that they have given her a nice break. Cassandra reassures Saintess Eliana, saying Queen Isabel wasn't going to do anything, but expresses lingering doubt. Saintess Eliana thoughtfully reflects on the enormous pressure of being the first queen. Cassandra smiles, stating that Queen Isabel is more open-minded than she expected. Saintess Eliana, with a cunning smile, muses about Queen Isabel's quick departure, and that the queen wants them, after all. Saintess Eliana recalls Prince Leon's past actions of mistreating both her and Cassandra. Saintess Eliana ponders Queen Isabel's true purpose in contacting them. Cassandra, looking surprised and worried, calls out to Saintess Eliana. Saintess Eliana smiles confidently, reassuring Cassandra that she will take care of whatever happens. The grand palace gleams under a starry sky, with a carriage approaching, signaling the day of the celebration. A hand reaches out to Saintess Eliana, who looks surprised. Cardinal Lorenzo smiles as he offers his hand to Saintess Eliana. Saintess Eliana takes Cardinal Lorenzo's hand, thanking him very much. Saintess Eliana and Cardinal Lorenzo stand together, looking like a couple. Two dark-haired women remark that Saintess Eliana and Cardinal Lorenzo indeed look like a couple, while Saintess Eliana contentedly thinks the word is spreading well. Cardinal Lorenzo blushes slightly, playing along nicely, as Saintess Eliana spots Prince Leon in the distance. Prince Leon looks distressed, his eyes wide. Saintess Eliana observes Prince Leon from behind, concluding he has been scolded by Queen Isabel. Saintess Eliana smiles ominously, wondering how long Prince Leon's changed behavior will last. Saintess Eliana tells Cardinal Lorenzo she is going to say hello to the others, preparing to move. Cardinal Lorenzo, looking somewhat concerned, confirms Saintess Eliana is sure she doesn't want him to come with her. Saintess Eliana covertly thinks understood, while looking at a blushing Cardinal Lorenzo. Chibi Saintess Eliana mischievously thinks, yes, of course, while secretly admitting she is lying, as a chibi Cardinal Lorenzo looks surprised. Cardinal Lorenzo bids Saintess Eliana goodbye and walks away while she smiles, seemingly pleased with their interaction. Saintess Eliana winks playfully and smiles, signaling her mischievous intentions. Cardinal Lorenzo appears contemplative amidst a patterned blue background. Cardinal Lorenzo blushes and smiles gently, placing a hand on his chest, surrounded by blooming flowers. Saintess Eliana stands elegantly in a grand hall, observing the other nobles and secretly hoping they take her bait. A friendly brown-haired man, smiling, approaches Saintess Eliana and asks to join her. Saintess Eliana's blue eye observes as she thinks it's strange how nobles, previously hostile, are now approaching her, noting their past insults and scathing looks. Saintess Eliana, eyes closed, apologizes while thinking the nobles are simple and unprincipled, making them perfect bait. Amidst pink flowers, Saintess Eliana's thought bubble suggests that Cardinal Lorenzo is a jealous man. Saintess Eliana looks surprised, her hand near her mouth, wearing an elegant blue dress and a prominent necklace. Cardinal Lorenzo stands confidently with crossed arms against a purple energy background as a speech bubble questions his eminence. Saintess Eliana appears flustered and confused by the situation. The brown-haired man sadly says, I see, with a broken heart above his head, while another man behind him smirks. Saintess Eliana smirks as the scene below reveals Prince Leon amidst red flowers, with text noting that she and Cardinal Lorenzo are being courted by the nobles. Saintess Eliana, surrounded by shadowy figures of nobles, smiles knowingly and thinks, "See, you're jealous, aren't you?" Prince Leon looks distraught and on the verge of tears. Prince Leon clenches his fist, angered and distressed, as a text box notes his relationship with Cardinal Lorenzo. A blonde-haired woman elegantly plays a golden harp, accompanied by two brown-haired men playing violins. A green-cloaked man earnestly asks Saintess Eliana to sing with him, while other nobles look on with varied expressions. Two eager men interrupt, insisting Saintess Eliana sing with them instead, as the green-cloaked man behind them remains flustered. Saintess Eliana politely apologizes to the eager men, while secretly thinking they are all a pain. The taller blonde man places a comforting hand on a distressed Prince Leon's shoulder. Surrounded by glowing red flowers, Prince Leon charmingly extends his hand, inviting Saintess Eliana to dance. Saintess Eliana gives a slight smirk, thinking Prince Leon is stupid despite Queen Isabel's warning, then apologizes with a hint of menace. Saintess Eliana faces a shocked and distraught Prince Leon, who is surrounded by other surprised nobles. Prince Leon angrily questions who that is, while Cardinal Lorenzo calmly replies, "It's that person over there," indicating someone off-panel. Saintess Eliana smiles cunningly in profile, adorned with a delicate white flower earring. A blushing Saintess Eliana smiles widely and says, "You know him too." Saintess Eliana proudly announces that Cardinal Lorenzo, standing beside her, is her guest for the night. Prince Leon displays a wide, angry, almost maniacal grin, his eyes glowing with fury. Prince Leon angrily confronts Cardinal Lorenzo and Saintess Eliana, shouting, "Cardinal Lorenzo, you're a priest!" Prince Leon aggressively points and shouts, questioning how Cardinal Lorenzo dares to consort with Saintess Eliana. Cardinal Lorenzo smugly explains that the church does not restrict romantic relationships, but then points out Prince Leon's specific actions. Cardinal Lorenzo firmly admonishes Prince Leon for flirting with a saint while engaged, recommending he refrain from such chaos-inducing behavior as he holds a pendant. Prince Leon shouts angrily, trying to interrupt Cardinal Lorenzo, his face full of outrage. Prince Leon desperately calls out to Saintess Eliana, reaching for her, then kneels and clutches her dress, filled with despair that she only protects others. Saintess Eliana and Cardinal Lorenzo attend the king's birthday celebration, where Saintess Eliana observes Prince Leon and thinks it's inappropriate to invite someone so unworthy to such a place. Prince Leon's hand clutches Saintess Eliana's dress, as she looks down at him with a smirk and asks him if he isn't the unworthy one. Saintess Eliana and Prince Leon are the center of attention, observed by a smirking dark-haired man and a thoughtful pink-haired woman. A voice questions the commotion, asking, "What's all the fuss?" Saintess Eliana looks towards Queen Isabel, who stands confidently on a grand staircase flanked by two dark-haired maids. Queen Isabel is seen in a close-up, holding a golden fan with a stern expression and glowing red eyes. Queen Isabel, looking stern, questions Prince Leon about escorting Lady Cassandra. Queen Isabel sternly confronts a shocked Prince Leon, demanding to know why Lady Cassandra is nowhere to be found. Prince Leon looks distraught and flustered, exclaiming his frustration over the evil bitch. Saintess Eliana stands between Prince Leon and a blonde-haired woman, who thinks she hadn't expected much from Queen Isabel. Queen Isabel stands with Prince Leon and Saintess Eliana, identified as, quote, Her Royal Highness Queen Isabel. Saintess Eliana looks worried, thinking that Prince Leon has not been heeding any admonitions. Prince Leon looks utterly shocked and distressed, exclaiming WH, then later shouting, What are you talking about, to an unseen person. Queen Isabel, looking disappointed, observes that Prince Leon made a disgraceful display today. Saintess Eliana, blushing slightly, expresses genuine sorrow for Lady Cassandra's situation. Saintess Eliana contemplates that the engagement between Prince Leon and Lady Cassandra seems mutually unfortunate. Queen Isabel sternly reminds them of the engagement's importance, but then a blonde-haired woman declares neither party wants to be together, asserting the situation is intolerable for both. Queen Isabel questions Saintess Eliana's involvement in Cassandra's engagement when it should concern Cassandra alone. Saintess Eliana, winking mischievously amidst red flowers, proposes they ask Cassandra herself for her opinion. Saintess Eliana, with Queen Isabel in the background, happily calls out to Lady Cassandra. Saintess Eliana, with a cunning wink and smirk, reiterates the suggestion to ask Lady Cassandra directly. Lady Cassandra, with dark hair and red streaks, appears distressed, surrounded by glowing red flowers, as her name is called. Lady Cassandra, standing beside Saintess Eliana, confirms her presence with a simple, yes. Prince Leon looks startled as a voice calls to him, then he exclaims, What? While Lady Cassandra glares, vowing he won't make her forget his past words. Prince Leon appears flustered, then Lady Cassandra fiercely questions what makes him believe she is a villainess. Prince Leon looks visibly shocked and distraught, with Saintess Eliana observing him intently. Saintess Eliana, appearing surprised but with a subtle expression, agrees with the sentiment. Lady Cassandra confronts Saintess Eliana, stating she cannot forgive Prince Leon's past outbursts against her. Lady Cassandra, showing only her elegant dress and shoes, continues to voice her unforgiveness for the prince's actions. Saintess Eliana coyly reveals she, too, has been negatively affected by Prince Leon's behavior, which utterly shocks the prince. Saintess Eliana addresses Queen Isabel, explaining that her request is due to Prince Leon's actions. Saintess Eliana formally requests Queen Isabel to consider breaking off the engagement between Lady Cassandra and Prince Leon. Saintess Eliana smiles contentedly, looking down at her elegant blue dress as blue flowers surround her. Lady Cassandra, with a resolute expression, voices her agreement to Queen Isabel's consideration. Queen Isabel sighs and rubs her temple, seemingly exasperated by the situation. Queen Isabel, with a stern, glowing red eye, acknowledges that the situation is no longer within her sole control. Queen Isabel turns her back, expressing understanding for Saintess Eliana's difficult position. Queen Isabel reprimands Prince Leon for tarnishing their family's honor, orders him to stay in his room, and then fiercely demands to know if he understood her command to leave. Queen Isabel, with intense red eyes and holding her fan, sternly reiterates her order for Prince Leon to leave at once. Prince Leon appears extremely distressed, sweating profusely, and meekly agrees to Queen Isabel's command. Prince Leon looks angrily at Saintess Eliana. Then the dark-haired Lady Cassandra and Saintess Eliana are seen observing him. Prince Leon walks away, regretting his promise to Queen Isabel, while Saintess Eliana observes his departure, noting his refusal to change. Saintess Eliana tells Queen Isabel that the relationship between Prince Leon and Lady Cassandra is clearly detrimental to both. Queen Isabel, with closed eyes, asks Lady Cassandra if she shares Saintess Eliana's sentiments. Lady Cassandra, with dark hair and red streaks, looks surprised and slightly distressed, with parted lips. Lady Cassandra and Saintess Eliana both show wide-eyed surprise, indicating a shared realization. Lady Cassandra and Saintess Eliana bow to Queen Isabel, expressing their gratitude. Saintess Eliana's blue eye narrows, revealing a thoughtful and somewhat calculating expression. Saintess Eliana questions why Queen Isabel is so fixated on the engagement between Prince Leon and Lady Cassandra. Queen Isabel, amidst thorny blue roses, confidently asserts that Saintess Eliana already knows the reason. Queen Isabel, with a subtle smirk, plainly states that Prince Leon completely lacks the qualities of a prince. Saintess Eliana looks genuinely surprised and a little shocked by Queen Isabel's blunt assessment. Queen Isabel dismisses Prince Leon, advising them to simply forget about him. Queen Isabel ascends a grand red staircase, elegantly departing, flanked by two dark-haired maids. Saintess Eliana, with a calm and knowing expression, decides to entrust the rest to Her Royal Highness. Lady Cassandra smiles happily at Saintess Eliana, eagerly agreeing with her statement. Saintess Eliana thanks Cardinal Lorenzo for his cooperation, who looks surprised. Saintess Eliana thanks Monica, who then exclaims how strange the recent events were. Monica beams, hands clasped together, looking incredibly happy and relieved. Cardinal Lorenzo calls out to Saintess Eliana with a close-up on their feet. Cardinal Lorenzo, with a gentle smile, informs Saintess Eliana that he is her partner until the celebration concludes, requesting her to please follow. Cardinal Lorenzo extends his hand with a charming smile, inviting Saintess Eliana amidst a backdrop of blooming pink flowers. Saintess Eliana subtly smirks, revealing she was the one who orchestrated the recent request. Saintess Eliana delicately holds a small golden key, with the sparkling jewel pendant visible on her chest. Saintess Eliana and Cardinal Lorenzo stand hand in hand in a dazzling hall, as two brown-haired maids observe them from the foreground. The dark-haired woman with red eyes and the brown-haired woman with orange eyes both blush and look surprised, excited by the scene before them. The scene shifts to grand, ornate double doors, bathed in a soft blue light, suggesting an important entrance or exit. A voice exclaims, "Shit!" as the camera pans across a table edge, then dark shadows, before revealing Prince Leon standing flustered in a lavish room. Prince Leon questions why his mother keeps interrupting him, then a thought bubble reveals his resolve to claim Saintess Eliana to gain acknowledgement with an image of her amidst roses. Prince Leon, seen from behind, grudgingly says, "Well, fine," as he looks towards a glowing light. Prince Leon looks distressed while stating he won't hesitate if that's what Eliana and Cassandra want, but then he thinks maniacally about forcing her to be his.